Well, with the arrival of the new year, a lot of us are making plans. You got a budget for next year, you got dreams, got goals for next year, stuff you're going to do. For some of you, that means get a building built. If you want a building on your property like a pole barn or an outbuilding or some kind of shed or project like that, some of you are looking at barndominium projects. That's a new rage in the industry. If you're in business, maybe that warehouse needs to be expanded. All American Metals can handle all of that. This is a turnkey operation. They're going to do everything you need, starting with the design. And then they work from there. They can design the whole thing for you, a legitimate stamped, engineered stamped set of plans. You can use for all your approvals and anything you got to get done with your local government, financing and all that. And when you're ready to go, when you're ready to build, they're going to build the building for you. Produce all the parts and package it all up and bring it to you in one big truckload or two, ready to go. If you need help getting it erect and out of the ground, they've got people all over the place that have worked with them for years that'll get this done for you. Even if they have to do it themselves, they've been putting up steel buildings since the 1960s, and there's nothing too big for them to handle. They can produce anything. Residential, red iron, retail stuff. It's All American Metals, good patriotic guys. That's why they call their company All American. AA-metal.com. AA-metal.com. All right, a couple minutes before the top of the hour. Let's do another phone call or two, and we'll get cranked up on some of that this afternoon. Charles is over here talking about the tariffs. What's up, Charles?
Hey, William, I've got a question for you.
Sure.
Okay, could President Trump or any of our presidents take a portion of the tariffs and use it to pay off our national debt?
Yes, and some of that is going for that. Trump keeps playing Santa with it because we do have additional tariff revenue coming in. It's around $500 billion right now, which is helping with the deficit. Now, that'll equalize down the road. So some of that's going to debt service. Some of it's going to go into your tax check next year. They're going to do some what they call dividends. If you were an investor, you get a dividend on your investment. Some of y'all are going to get $1,000 or $2,000 on your taxes next year. It's going to be returned. Some of it they've announced is going to go to help farmers that have been affected by the tariff negotiations and the trade wars. We've got some sectors in farming that are suffering from the export issue. So they're going to put up, I think it was yesterday, day before it was announced, there were $24 billion. Now, some of us, I'm a deficit hawk or a debt hawk. I'd love us to start chipping away and just returning this stuff to the debt. I don't even want the money back personally. I'd want them to pay this debt down. That's for my grandkids. That's for the future generations. But
okay, William, I got one other question. Did I hear you correctly say that it was be in the 70s on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day?
So ask me that one more time. What was in the 70s?
Did I hear you correctly say it was be in the 70s on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day?
Yes. Oh, with the weather. I was thinking economics all of a sudden. Yeah, there's a heat wave kind of coming in. I'm not saying that's a specific forecast, but there's some model runs that put the temperature in the high 60s and 70s maybe by Christmas. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And give your wife a message for me.
I will.
Tell her she has got me to make a sourdough.
Oh, you on it now? You're doing the sourdough? It's like it's like a cult.
I make something else that I know you probably like. Have you heard this stuff called Bishop spread?
I think I have. Don't know what it is, but I've heard that phrase.
Okay, what Bishop spread? It's kind of like I use sourdough, and what you do is you take and you bake it, and you sprinkle a little bit of sugar on it, and you put candied, like cherries, orange peel, whatever. It is so good.
Man, I'm trying not to be fat right now. Y'all are not helping me. None of y'all are. We had a company lunch yesterday, and I went on and did the banana pudding. I just can't get away from it. It's the holidays.
Okay, thanks a lot, William. I appreciate it.
All right, Charles. There's Charles tonight. Talking about weather, talking about tariffs. Everybody's got a lot on their mind. Yeah, what he's talking about just the beginning of the show, I was mesmerized by this cold snap we're going to have Saturday night. Here's a true story. I'm looking at the weather in two places right now because I've got to travel to New York this weekend to see my new grandbaby, and I'm checking out the weather because they've got snow coming on. Country boy ain't ready for that. I don't have the right underlayers and clothing. You got to layer up in a city. The wind is so cold in a city. So I'm trying to figure out what the weather's going to be so I can take the right stuff. And so I'm watching the weather there, and I'm watching the weather here. And it will be colder in Alabama Sunday night into Monday than it will be there up in the Northeast. This big old vortex thing is coming blasting in here, and it's just going to make it put it down in the teens. I was going to make a Roy Moore joke that Richard Dixon made years ago, but I'll stay away from that. That's old news. Yeah, so 17 degrees potentially for some spots. If you go further north, of course, it's even colder than that up in the Tennessee Valley in the state. And then a big pattern flip right after that, and we're back potentially in the 60s or 70s for several days in the last few weeks of December as we head into Christmas. Some of y'all like a good, warm, tropical Christmas. I don't mind it. I'm the older I get, the less I like cold weather. I cannot abide. It's wearing me out. Axiom Tax Resolution Group. We just got through talking about all the federal spending and the money and the mess. To add insult to injury, they're taking it out of your pocket. Some of y'all are disproportionately paying too much for everybody else in this country, but they're still going to come after their money. And they're not going to tell you when the IRS decides to put you in the crosshairs, they won't tell you about the programs that'll help you settle for less. They want their money. They're not going to tell you if they missed a deadline that they should have abided by. They're just going to sweat you. They're not going to tell you that there are laws that prevent them from harassing you once you start working with them and not trying to run from them. And that's where Perry Cronin steps in. He's an expert, knows as much or more about this than anybody in this country. And he'll step in there on your behalf and negotiate a settlement, knowing what the rules are, what's reasonable to offer, what the IRS will accept, how to apply these programs that you may be eligible for, and get that reduced so you can sleep again at night and not have to worry about the harassment and the threats to your livelihood and your family. It's the government, man. They're one of the most vicious collection agencies in the world, and you do not want to go up against them alone. Get my man Perry to come help. I love that he's local. He's such an expert, and he's right here in Alabama. He'll sit down with you face-to-face. 205tax.com, 205tax.com. The phone number is 872-1100, Axiom Tax Resolution Group. All right, it's 3:05, Leland Live, Tony and M5. Let's go. Let's get it on. Blakely's Bouquets, first up this hour. This is my florist. I want them to be your florist. These are such great folks. And here at the holidays, there are lots of reason to give flowers. Sometimes y'all have got birthdays. You got people in your family that have birthdays and Christmas right there next to each other. Don't combine those. That's a faux pas. I've got a couple of my grandkids that are like that, people in the family. Send flowers. Separate the holidays. The other thing, of course, is lifting people up with your giving of flowers. This season puts pressure on people. Y'all know how it is. Maybe some of y'all are going through that, where everything's supposed to be idyllic and a Hallmark movie, but it just ain't. It's still life. We still got bills and running around and life to do and family members and all kind of stress. And if you know somebody going through something, send them a little bouquet from Blakely's and give them a pick me up during this time of the year if they're struggling. It's the contrast. You know, you got somebody, I got friends going through cancer recovery, and you contrast that with the happiness of everybody else and the joy of the season. And sometimes it can just make it feel worse. If you want to love on somebody right now, you reach out to Blakely's, put that order in. They've got an easy to use, very intuitive website. And you get on there and find your bouquet, find what works, clickety click, boom, put your message in and send them. And that delivery gets there usually by midday the next day, even if you order it that morning. They're so good about that. The delivery and I love the text that they send you to let you know it made it. We've come accustomed to that nowadays when we order something to know when it's delivered. And they do that for you at Blakely's. So for specialty giving, if holiday arrangements, any of these things, make them your florist too. They're in Edgewood over in Homewood, good central location here in Birmingham, but you don't even have to go to them. A lot of what they do is right there on their website. Blakely's Bouquets. Two names that they put together to name the business. Blake and Lee, BlakeLees, BlakeLeesBouquets.com. All right, man, let's just kind of recap everything where we are. We'll start at the top, then we'll get back on the phones. Love the phone calls tonight. The news is interesting today, but it's not overwhelming. We're not burdened down with a bunch of developing or breaking stories. I would say the top three are the Charlie Kirk accused shooter is in a courtroom right now. There's a closed door hearing going on over some procedural matters. A lot of that dealing with the security of the whole situation, and they can't really make that public. But there is a pretty spirited debate about whether cameras can be in the courtroom. I think the judge is going to weigh in on that today, so we'll know. There is a camera in there now, and they've gone to a closed meeting. They'll come back to the camera in a little while. If we sync up with the proceedings out in Utah, remember, they're behind us in the time zone, so it's early afternoon there, and we're able to dip into the coverage. We'll certainly do what we can to do that. So we got that hearing going on right now. We've got the Venezuelan ship. Let's talk about that for a minute. The White House in their daily news briefing today said that we're going to keep the oil from that tanker that we seized. That tanker, under a subpoena, we went in and seized the tanker. That tanker had been used for a sort of a black market oil operation to ship oil from Venezuela and from Iran. All of those countries have been embargoed by the international community. They've been sanctioned to not be selling their product to the world. They use it to fund terrorism. Iran uses it to fund a lot of violence in their region of the world. And, of course, we know Venezuela is propping up their terror and narco-terrorist distribution systems with some of that funding. So then it becomes contraband. We've never seen anything this scale. The intent of the United States is to keep it, but do it after a legal process that allows that to happen. That goes all the way down to even, and I've got huge problems with some of the ways local policing are doing this stuff nowadays, where they'll confiscate vehicles and cash, and there's not a lot of accountability for how that happens. We should be more protected from that on a local level, but on an international trade level, when it comes to really pirated oil, black market oil around the sanctions, that's one of the things international community should be doing. Anyway, when the sanctions have no meaning if they can get around them. Just like we tried to do that with Russia, well, they just started selling it to China, and China didn't care. That was different. But when you're moving across international waters in violation of this stuff, and obviously it keeps international and economic pressure on Maduro, and I believe his days are numbered in that government, and should be. He was voted out of office, and he just would not leave. The people want their country back. So good stuff. So that was a headline maker earlier this afternoon. And then reluctantly, I guess I got to talk about this this Michigan coach, because there's still stuff bubbling around on that. So this guy goes and creates, destroys his whole life in about a 48-hour period after having sexual relations with a staffer. It involved a pregnancy, an abortion. He got fired. There were death threats. All this stuff happened. Now he's been arrested. Well, this afternoon, the school has now fired their athletic director. It's like, was he in on it? What they're saying is that he knew about this, and the timing was suspicious, that the athletic director knew about the controversy. The young lady had approached them already, but they kept it quiet until recruiting window closed. I don't know which window because recruiting's gone all over. It's mad right now. So some deadline passed. They got that done, and then they put the word out, and they're saying they were playing games with this issue rather than enforcing their own policies on these matters. The only reason I bring it up here is we got a lot of Alabama fans a little bit interested in the story because the rumor mill, as you would expect, could involve their coach. The Coach DeBoer is apparently being pursued by this school. They've got a sudden coaching vacancy, and they're going to go around and pilfer somebody's coach at this point. A lot of the coaches were already hired in the last few weeks. It's that coaching carousel that happens at the end of a season. A lot of that got buttoned up with a lot of teams. There are a couple of teams still out there recruiting. So they're going to steal somebody's coach, and it'll be interesting to see how that drama plays out. Just a little. What are we? Orlando's in for AJ today. We about like a week out from the playoff bracket starting. When is that? When is Alabama playing that game?
Alabama plays not this Friday, but next Friday.
On a Friday. They're not playing on a Saturday. Why are they doing it on a Friday? I guess because they got to squeeze it all in. They want all the games played in isolation, so everybody will watch each one. I guess they're not going to run them at the same time. Fun times in Cleveland, y'all. Here we go. 3:12. George is over here on the phones. Let's get some phone calls in here. By the way, our friend Tina Payne will be in here at the 4 o'clock hour. Look forward to chatting with her about her event this weekend. George, what's going on, man?
I was listening to you remarking about the wild fluctuations in the temperature.
Yeah.
If you'll recall, well, it seems like within every year for the past 8 years or so, the week between Christmas and New Year, a week either side of that, we have had a tornado.
Yeah, it's we have a secondary tornado season that happens. Usually it's around the 1st of November through the holidays, and it's just winter settling in. Official winter comes in on the 21st, and I've covered many tornadoes this time of the year as a reporter when it snowed immediately after.
Well, when you talk about going down to extremely low temperatures and then followed up by abnormally high temperatures, that sets off alarm bells in my mind.
Well, it's just a pattern flip. We got these polar waves that come down, and now the weather forecasters like to give them a scary name, so we pay attention. They started calling them a polar vortex for a few years. Then this morning they were calling it a polar shock, and it may be shocking. I
haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah, it's now a polar shock, George. Don't go outside. You'll be shocked.
Well, I've updated my vocabulary now. Thank you very much.
That works.
Have a great day.
All right, George. George, little weather chat today. Yeah, it's. I didn't even get to that, did I? That was one of my top things last hour. Is that we got a sharp cold snap coming this weekend, Sunday night into Monday, down in the teens. I don't know that that's really pipe breaking weather because when we start losing pipes, we'll have a snap like that, but it lasts for several days. You have 2 or 3 days where we never get above freezing, and then that's when pipes start breaking because they stay cold and really harden over. But it's a hard freeze, so do whatever it is you got to do. For example, today I had the RV was full of water. I haven't winterized it yet because I'm going to be using it a few times. And part of the process when you winterize one, the first thing you do is get all the water out of it, and then you put this sort of antifreeze that can be used on water pipes. That's non-toxic. We call it. Everybody calls it the pink stuff. It's got this pink color, so you can tell that it's antifreeze and not water when you put it in your system. Say, are y'all bored with this? I'll just tell you how it works. And so you blow out the water from the system, and then you have to suck that antifreeze into the pipes. And that's what you do when you're going to leave a camper, RV, or something that sits outside. You're going to leave it all winter and not use it for a long time. I wasn't ready to do that because we got some trips in between, and this is how I had to maintain it. Just basically get the water out. So what did I do? I had to go out and dump all the water, and what I do is I've got this valve, and I'll put an air compressor on it and blow air into the system with a regulator valve at about 40 psi, and it blows the water out of all the sink valves and the toilet valves, and then you get ready. So I did all that today because I'm going to be traveling. I don't want to leave that thing to chance with it getting into the teens. So some of y'all may need to be doing things like that if you got a boat or RV or any kind of vehicle, anything with water in it. 17 degrees is not anything to laugh at. One other weather-related thing you can do too this time of the year is reach out to Gutter Cap and let them come to your house and get you straightened out. I think we're finally done with falling leaves. There's always a few trees that just hang on and they spit leaves all winter. But the bulk of it is off the trees now. And if your gutters are packed out, and you probably know they are, some of you have no idea what's going on up there. You just know you need to take care of it. And you don't have them covered, they're probably full of leaves. And paying somebody to come out every year and do that for you gets expensive. Doing it yourself is dangerous. Gutter Cap can take this problem out of your life by coming out, cleaning up your gutters, rehanging everything to make sure it's all straight. If anything's popped loose, they're going to straighten it out, check the seams, make sure the water can flow, because that's an important function on your house, is that water flows away from that roof and away from your foundation. And then they're going to put their patented system on top of that. Their patented system is patented because of the way they developed the idea of making it out of all aluminum panels so they can handle the elements, and doing them out of one piece for each section. They don't create extra seams. This is not one of those snap-on vinyl things you get at the hardware stores. This is designed to stay there and be there and work and function year after year. So you're never worried about clogs. You're not getting on a ladder. All that's over. You're actually, in the long run, going to save some money if you're one of those kind of people that have to pay to get this done every year. And they're ready to come out. Here's the fun part. They let me know about this week. They're going to knock 45% off their retail price between now and through Christmas at Gutter Cap of Birmingham. Look, there are other companies that do this, and you'll hear their ads and hear their pitch. This is Gutter Cap. Everybody else is imitating Gutter Cap. This is the patented system that absolutely works. Our audience has loved this product on their homes. Get it on yours and take advantage of this 45% off right now at guttercapbirmingham.com. Let me do that one more time. guttercapbirmingham.com. It's 321, Leland Live, Talk 99.5. Alabama Gold Refinery ready to help you get in the game. Some of y'all like to do Christmas giving over there. I had a guy call me years ago. I think it's a great idea. I may even start doing it with my grandkids. They're getting old enough to sort of understand the concept. He likes to buy silver coins for his grandkid. They're very affordable. Of course, they've gone way up in price lately. And it gives them something they can hold so you can teach them about money and value. They can track the value of their little coin collection. And he buys them every year, and it builds up something that's real for them. I know some people used to do this with savings bonds, things like that. It's good to teach kids this stuff, give them an economic lesson at those ages. The markets were way up. Gold today is now at 43.02. I think that's another record. So if you've got scrap laying around, old pieces you don't use anymore or something somebody gave you that you don't need anymore, get over there and sell it. Scrap values are super high right now at that price. Man, you may have almost 10 grand just laying around not doing anything in your jewelry collection. It's a safe place to do it in Homewood, right across from the Regions Bank. You'll love getting to know Steve, too. It's just a fun place to visit. This is what they do, precious metals. AlabamaGoldRefinery.com, AGR, AlabamaGoldRefinery.com. Man, I'm sitting here watching this Tyler Robinson situation. I think they're still in the hearing. I've got to see if I can get a quick update. They had gone into a sort of I guess a closed door session where they took the camera off the courtroom to decide a bunch of weighty matters. All of this stuff is important. Judges don't want to miss trial. They don't want to misstep. And this is one of those cases that has so much volatility on it. There's so much of an outside crazy dynamic around this guy's world that they've got to be super careful. One of those things they're being super careful about, of course, is security. Not only of this defendant, they escorted him in Provo, Utah today, by the way, where the hearing is going down. I just saw a video of the motorcade that escorted him from the jail facility, wherever he's being held. And it looked like an armored vehicle with a bunch of surrounding vehicles as well. I don't know if they went up with a long protracted trial that goes 2 or 3 weeks, they're going to do this every day, an armored motorcade for this one defendant every day. Maybe they have to. What an expense for the people in that area. Now, some facilities, I know Jefferson County used to be like this. The jail and the courts are all in the same facility, so they literally will move defendants from a cell, inside the same building. There's not a security issue like that, but that may be the case here, where they've got to move the defendant. They've got to watch out for the identities and the security for the jurors, because it's not even just that something could happen. Even the threat that something could happen could affect the outcome of the trial, make the jurors nervous, in this case through intimidation. Look, they're not reinventing a wheel. This has been done before in different high-profile cases all over the country, but this may be a first for Provo, Utah. This is their world. This is their judge, their bailiffs, their security apparatus, but with the whole country paying attention to it. So I don't know that they've gone back to open court yet. If they do, and as there's any action or anything to be reported, we'll report that back to you. Otherwise, they went behind closed doors to figure this stuff out. It's easy to throw a case. I've told this story. I think I got a couple of minutes. Yeah, we still got a camera. Judges weighing cameras in the courtroom, and I was just looking. The live shot is of the judge's chair. They've taken it off the defendant. By the way, with the camera that was in there today, controversy already when this defendant came out, was smirking and appeared to be laughing in the courtroom, and that rubbed a lot of people that were observing that sideways. Internet sort of reaction / overreaction immediately when that happened. So this thing will have a lot of observation. I'll go ahead and warn you about this. It's going to have a lot of terrible TV lawyers giving advice about what you're going to expect and what's going to happen. And some of these guys are just wrong. I've heard 2 or 3 of them today, and you don't have to be an attorney to know how wrong they are. I've got a little bit of experience, had years and probably thousands of hours sitting in trials like this. And some of the things they're declaring to be definitive is just not definitive. It's hard to know how a case is always going to play out. The personality of the judge, the personality of the jurors, the way the lawyers behave, all that's a jump ball in a lot of cases. Nothing's really predictable, especially the outcome of a jury. I have this personal story where we were in a trial one time. It was a murder trial, and it's been so long I'm trying to remember what the actual case was about, but all I do remember is down at the Jefferson County Courthouse, there used to be a little diner in the parking deck across the street. I think it was called Sophia's. It was a good little meet and three. And they had a market, man, because daily you've got courthouse traffic and they were right there. So if the judge calls a break in the case for a lunch break, that's the easiest place to go. You don't have to lose your parking place, walk across the street, hit that little diner. It's sort of a diner meet and three. It's pretty good food too, based on what I remember. And then everybody walks back across the courthouse. So we being me and some fellow reporters that were covering the case, even though we're rivals, we're all sort of friends in a contemporary way. And we said, hey, let's just all go to lunch across the road. So off we went. So we go walking across the street and we're sitting in a booth. I'll never forget this because I just felt like an idiot. And we started talking about the case, giving our opinions about what we think was happening, what may be coming next. It's just what reporters do. You're trying to gauge your day. Will we get to the end of this by today? We're just talking all about the case. And I happened to look up and I saw two of the people in the booth next to us had those little oval juror tags that they give you when you're in the jury pool. And so if you're down there for jury pool, they'll put that on you so you're identified. And if you get picked for a jury, I think they also require that you keep those on. It helped in those days. It helped people move around in the courthouse. And I saw that and I just went cold. I went, they just heard everything we were talking about. And then I looked to see if I recognized them. And sure enough, one of them was on the jury of the case we were sitting there yapping about. So they're given strict instructions to not consume any media. Don't watch any TV. Don't read any newspapers. And here were the TV and the newspaper sitting right next to them talking about the case like a bunch of idiots. Well, the right thing to do right then was to let the judge know. And I was pretty sure I was going to be fired. I was like, they're going to fire me. I just blew a murder case running my mouth. Can you imagine that? So went over, immediately found the judge, talked to him about it. And he did his due diligence. He called the jury in and asked them, did y'all hear any of this conversation at lunch? And none of them did. We were just presuming if they did, we wanted to err on the side of caution and not have something that affect the case down the road. And naturally, this little 27-year-old, however old I was at the time, it was a sigh of relief. The reason I tell you that old man way back story is that these cases are sensitive and any little thing can go wrong. And a judge has to steward that thing all the way through the chaos that is the country looking at it, the politics of it. It's a political assassination. This lunacy online with this Candace Owens crowd and all those Tucker Carlson, all those people that seem to have just lost their minds. And the judge has got to guard this whole case against that chaos and try to keep justice on the rails. Looks like they're back live in the courtroom with a camera. I'll listen to this during the break. We'll go ahead and take our break. We'll come back. If we can go into the case and carry any of the audio, we'll try to do that real quick and let you get a sense of it. Lead 'em live. It's 3:35, Leland Live, Talk 99.5. Burton Camper's ready to get you fixed up. I just went through a whole explanation of getting water out of a camper. If y'all want the winterization done, you already have a rig and you just want somebody else to fool with all that, they are happy to service that for you and get it put away for the winter, especially with this cold snap coming. If you're done with it for the season, go ahead and get that done, get the pink stuff. If you're a do-it-yourselfer and you do that kind of work yourself, that's where I go every single year to get all my supplies that I need. And just run over to Clear and pick it all up from Jody and them. They've got parts. They got a huge parts department and 11 service bays down in Calera to do anything you need. It's burtoncampers.com. Look, they are there for you to hook you up with one that'll fit your budget, fit your vehicle. You can announce it to the family this year. You don't even have to be Clark Griswold. You can know it's going to happen and not be surprised by your own surprise, and tell them you're going camping. You bought a camper and y'all are getting on the road. Your kids will eventually love it. They'll hate putting their tech away. They'll say, I need my phone. But then you take the phone away from them and suddenly you got family members you'll talk about for a lifetime. I know this. I've lived this. It's burtoncampers.com in Jasper and down in Calera this Christmas. Exit 231 and then by the hospital in Jasper. All right, I'm looking at this courtroom. I don't think we're back live yet. I see news anchors talking over the pool feed. If we get a chance to hear what they're doing, sometimes it can be dry. There's a lot of back and forth and tedious technical stuff. They've been at this all afternoon behind closed doors, but they're back live in front of a camera. I think we're just kind of waiting on the decision as to whether or not they're going to allow cameras in there, and that's kind of a big deal. Richard, the cop's joining us now. What's up, Richard? What's going on, buddy?
You struck a memory in my mind a while ago. I have eaten many a meal at Sophia's when I'd be going to the DA's office up over there where the county jail's at to get warrants.
Yeah, it was a good place. I like that place.
June of '96, I went in there, Leland, and going to get me a drink, going over there to the DA. Look down, there's a folded $1 bill leaning up against the counter where you go check out. I picked it up and put it in my pocket and went in the bathroom. And it was $600 and hundreds and a $1 bill folded over the top.
Well, who left that there? Was it a tip or what happened?
Jesus left me some money, I guess. It was laying in the floor.
It's always Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Did you just pick it up and keep it? I guess you were able to keep it.
I picked it up, and I knew the law. If you find lost property and you don't make an effort to identify the owner, it's a felony.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Birmingham News ran an ad every other day for 2 weeks for free for me. Found lost property, 8th Avenue and 21st Street. Call this number to identify.
So I guess all you had to say was property. You didn't have to say money or anything else to identify.
I wasn't telling the exact amount, so everybody calls. That's my money.
Exactly.
No, people call and ask for keys and wallets, but nobody ever said that amount of money, and I bought a Glock with it.
You know, I had a situation like that. We talked about it on the radio after it happened. I go out to my mailbox one day, and there's this odd black plastic case laying by my mailbox. Just no address. It's not a delivery package.
That's where you.
Dude, I thought somebody, I mean, you know what I do for a living. I was like, I don't know what that is. I was scared to even pick it up because it was weirdly just laying right by the mailbox like somebody dropped it off. Well, eventually I was able to spin it. I spun it around with a stick like a moron. And I could see a logo on the side of it, and I realized that is a tool. Somebody is, and then I opened it up, and somebody lost a very nice like hand router, a routing tool.
Yep.
And I already have 2 or 3 of them, so I didn't really need it. But I had no idea what to do with it. They didn't have a card in there. There was no identification. The only assumption I can make is it flew off somebody's truck. They just put it on there, precariously, and it just happened to land on me like from the gods. And I still have it, and I even put it out on the radio. I said, if you lost one of these things, if you can describe it, I'll give it right back to you. I don't need it. But there it sits in my tool room, just sitting on the shelf.
Well, I'm out here running people around, doing my little side gig. Y'all have a good day, boys.
All right, Richard. There's Richard with some throwback stories. He was telling that whole diner thing down there. It made me think of something else I was thinking of, but I just forgot it because I'm that age now. I hadn't had enough coffee this afternoon. All right, sharp eyes on this case. I'll tell you what we'll do because I got a feeling they're going to go back to the audio, the natural sound from that courtroom. Let's go ahead and take our break, and then we'll come back and get through that. We'll go back and see. I just want to get as much of this as we can. especially if there are any decisions from the judges that'll dictate what happens going forward. Because I'm telling you, this case is going to be a circus. It just cannot not be. There are too many clowns. They've all gotten out of the Volkswagen and they're running around in the arena and they're waiting on this thing to start. And I sort of dread it in some ways, but we need to get this case adjudicated in front of the world. Allen and Company over there in Vestavia, ready for your gift giving. It's the Thompson family. Now, it's named after Allen. Allen is Allen. And he is a master jeweler and a great guy, and you'll get to know him on a first-name basis too. So for all your work, whether you got something broken or need something fixed or resized or designed, you've got a personal jeweler that can do it. Their diamond prices are the same as all the diamond prices. Y'all, that's a consignment-based industry. Almost every diamond store in the country gets them from the same sources. They have them at the same prices, same quality. What you get at Allen and Company is customization. You get detail. You get a personal touch. You get people that care. 2 generations working in there, people that their names on that building. They're going to take good care of you. They always have for years and years. They've been on the show, and our audience loves them. So swing in there and pick up something for somebody, and they'll put it in that little silver wrapping paper box, and you can give it to them. I even kept my box when we did our wedding set a year and a half ago, and we took it all the way to Italy. And something occurred to me, right? I'm always promoting, right? The photographer was going crazy taking pictures of the bride. So I just was over on the side. So I had them take a picture of the Allen and Company box at our wedding because I still had it with us. I always remember that. Y'all, it's such a nice place. Earrings, pendants, bracelets, charms, everything in between, even gifts for guys in there. It's Allen and Company this Christmas. Pop in there and knock that out and add something to your list this year to give somebody that you care about. Allen and Company in Vestavia. Still didn't Okay. Tell Tina I'll come in there at 4. It's 3:45, Leland Live, talking to NM5. I tell you what, let's bump on over to Provo, Utah. They're back in the courtroom now. The attorneys are talking to the judge. We may be getting some decisions on how this trial is going to go. The whole country is going to be watching this. Let's take a listen to that for just a few minutes, as long as we can hang with it in this segment.
Court's order needs to be addressed.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. To the press, attorneys for the press.
Your Honor, Jeff Hunt for the media interveners. This is the first time that we've heard about the violation. We've not had an opportunity to look at the video or investigate the audio or look at the capture of the computers, but filming of the inadvertent filming of the shackles, I did talk to the pool photographer. My understanding is that there was a zoom out shot that did inadvertently show the shackles. That was improper. That was inadvertent, and we apologize for that. They've taken measures to make sure that the pool video that is disseminated to the rest of the pool does not contain any capture of the defendant in the shackles. We can't do anything about the live stream, of course, but we can control what the rest of the video is that we capture and disseminate. So that is being done. The audio for counsel, my understanding is the only audio that they picked up was from counsel's microphones. I don't have any further information about that and whether that's a violation. Filming of the computers is not a violation of the decorum order. If the capture can show the document that counsel is looking at, then that is a potential violation. So I just don't know how much detail the shot is that is of concern to the court. But I'll just say that we reiterated as soon as I heard this from Mr. Ballard with the pool representatives that this is very important to follow to the letter the court's EMC order. They understand their obligations. They take that very seriously. They're not perfect. Mistakes happen. We're trying to correct as much as we can on that, but we think termination is not an appropriate remedy. An admonishment from this court, a reminder that they need to follow to the letter the court's EMC order is appropriate. That's the message that counsel has delivered to the media representatives and the pool operatives, and we think that is the appropriate remedy.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to make it clear, we're still receiving messages that shackles can be seen on the live stream as we restart it. So it's still a problem.
Thank you. I appreciate all parties weighing in on this important matter. And I find that there was a violation of the standing decorum order that was in effect as of October 30th, 2025, based off what's been proffered, as well as the EMC order signed by the court. As previously stated by Ms. Visser, the court does have discretion in determining whether to terminate the broadcast of these proceedings, and again, if there's specific circumstances warrant such action, that the court would need to make findings in order to do so. I find that excluding the cameras from the courtroom would be disproportionate for this hearing. I find that making it very clear, first, that the transmission cannot begin until court is in session and must end as the court ends the session, and cannot be filmed before or after. The filming of, as previously stated in the decorum order, EMC must be followed to the letter. The sanction for today is that this camera will be relocated away from defense table to where the bailiff is, where Jeff is standing over here. I want to immediately address any possible transmission of shackles, as previously stated by counsel, and remove the possibility of capture of screens of the computers at defense counsel's table as well. In addition, if there's further violations of the standing decorum order, this court does have the right and will exercise termination of broadcast of these proceedings. And I simply want to put all parties on notice, to the press, to all parties, that this court takes this very seriously. While the court believes in openness and transparency, it needs to be balanced with the constitutional rights of all parties in this case. As such, we will take a brief recess to allow the relocation of the camera and to the place indicated by the bailiff, and then we will resume these court proceedings. I am anticipating this take perhaps 5 minutes. Probably less. All right, and then we'll come back on the record and handle the remaining of this hearing. I appreciate the patience of parties as we move forward. We are trying to do the best.
Okay, they've already cut the audio that fast. The judge, they've got one camera in the courtroom. Let's just kind of bring everybody up to speed on what's going on here. This is the Tyler Robinson hearing, preliminary hearings ahead of a potential trial, I assume, early next year. This is the defendant that is accused of assassinating Charlie Kirk at the college campus there in Utah. So the trial's going on in Provo, and they've got this single camera pool shot that they've been using today. And I think the defense team argues they don't want the cameras in the courtroom. The prosecutors seem to be okay with it. And then you've got attorneys for media outlets that want access to the minute-to-minute trial testimony. And then a big public interest, including Erica Kirk herself, who says cameras have been on her family. They were on the assassination. They're watching everything they do. She wants the country to see this trial. That is expressing confidence that they've got the shooter. The circumstances seem pretty clear. They've got a hell of a case already with some of the other elements that we know about, and we don't know what we don't know about. And for those of us that are almost just vomit sick of the ridiculous psychosis that happens in this country with situations like this, where you've got these voyeurs and these instigators and these rage bait people online profiting from this man's death and the controversy and creating controversy because of an absence of information. The trial can squish a lot of that because we get to see it. We heard it ourselves. I'll tell you one of the times I remember in the past when the country was finally treated to nonstop live coverage in my personal memory, and I'll never forget how this went because I was new to the television news business. If you remember, in 1990, at the end of 1990, I remember it was August 2nd, 1990, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait. And that was the opening shot for the first Gulf War. And that was my first day on my first TV job, and in comes this invasion of Kuwait. So by now, you know, we went and invaded ourselves to kick him out of Kuwait, and that was Gulf War I. Well, every day we'd have these briefings from the president's team, particularly from the Defense Department. And names like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Colin Powell became household names. These guys did these dramatic news conferences. I'll never forget the night we went in. There was Bernie Shaw on CNN. We didn't have a Fox News back then. And Bernie Shaw was talking about our invasion, and you could see that green radar sweep. Some of you older folks will remember that. And the whole country would be transfixed on the radar of the images of us landing there in Kuwait to get in there and take care of business. Well, every day they do these news briefings, and they weren't always fixed, but the country would sit and watch. It was one of those things where people would stop what they were doing, stop work, stop everything, and just freeze and watch everything that was going on with that war. We had never been in a real-time televised war like this, like we did in Gulf War I. Now, what happened in the evening, though, is Dan Rather and the gang would get on television and start spinning the news conference that we all just watched 3 or 4 hours before his newscast. And I watched as American viewers' eyes became open to the spin, because people would be sitting at home with their TV dinners. Y'all remember TV dinners? They'd be cutting on some Salisbury steak, looking at that square box sitting there in the floor on the console, and listening to Dan Rather lie about what they had seen themselves earlier in the day in real time. The bottom line was, I think it was educational for the public to watch news briefings. And it took away a power that the mainstream media had to cherry pick information to shape a narrative out of every case. Nowadays, we could not have imagined or even fathomed in those days what the internet would eventually become. I don't even think many people had household computers at the time. So then comes the new media and social media, and everybody with a phone in their pocket is a reporter nowadays with a camera and a recording device. And we've got access to more information than we've ever had. And a lot of it is junk. But the mainstream media has lost their ability to shape narratives like that by being able to be the only ones in the room when something goes down. And then all we see of it is a little peephole, like you're looking through a door to whatever it is they want to show us as to real modern day events. The bottom line of all that long speech is having those cameras there in a live environment could be the thing the country needs right now to get the facts as presented to this jury in that format and really dispel a lot of the stupidity that we've had to put up with for the last 3 months. Now, the opposite of that is the OJ case. Now, that had celebrity all over it from the beginning. OJ was one of the most popular celebrities in this country, and it immediately became a divisive case. There was race injected into it by design to nullify the jury. But then there were the lawyers themselves and the judge himself, and these people got the spotlight was it's kind of like what's happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene and some of these members of Congress and Candace Owens. Man, they love the attention, and they'd start changing their hairstyles and dressing nicer for the cameras because they were becoming TV stars every day. Remember Marsha Clark and Robert Shapiro, all these attorneys that were showing up every day in those courtrooms, and then of course the TV attorneys that would be handicapping the case. People like Greta Van Susteren. Nobody knew who she was. She wound up with her own TV show out of this. Same thing for several of the other people that became celebrities because of the death of two people. It was sick, but the whole country was transfixed on it and could not quit watching. So in some ways, the TV cameras played into messing that trial up and giving us a distorted view. So, but as of this case, I think most people want to see the cameras in there. All right, the judge is talking again. We've got about 2 minutes. They've repositioned the camera, so it's really just focused on him. Pretty clever, Judge. He gets all the attention now. Really, they're trying to keep from anything being seen that they don't want seen. The judge is handing down some decisions and taking some more arguments. So let's listen to about another minute of this, and we'll go on and do our top of the hour break.
City order is intended to further that goal. And again, as I've stated before, the state plans to try this case once. The state is also committed to complying with its ethical duties with respect to pretrial publicity. We have complied with those duties. We will continue to comply with those duties. The issue we bring before the court here is that there's one portion of the pretrial publicity order that can be interpreted to reach beyond those ethical requirements and have the effect of being what would be an unlawful order, an unlawful prior restraint on speech. And our goal, therefore, is to get an order that's clear, that's lawful, and that the state has the ability to comply with. And the issue with the order that the state has is the use of the term witnesses in the order. We believe that term's vague and ambiguous. Does it mean anyone with relevant information about this case? Does it just mean those people that are going to be subpoenaed to testify in this case? Or is it limited to just the prosecution team?
Okay, so what we're hearing there is the prosecutor sort of framing some things up. All this stuff's nerdy but fascinating. We'll take this quick break, go hear some 1819 news. We'll come back, talk to my friend Tina Payne about a big event this weekend some of y'all will want to attend, and if there's anything more to cover on this case, we'll do that this evening as well. Your phone calls too, 545-9950, Leland Live. Stay tuned. 405 Leland Live, talking in an M5. Here we go. Kind of an odd afternoon of news. We're still keeping an eye on that situation out in Utah, covering any other headlines that pop up. Any other breaking news, y'all know how we roll, and we do it every single day. Lonnie's Furniture Company bringing you the show tonight. That's John and Reggie and that whole team, man. This is a really good weekend to go get you some lazy boys. We don't have a whole lot of football. Alabama fans have their big game next week. If you want to trick your house out as the cold weather runs us inside, you can't beat a lazy boy. Now, I have two stationary ones. When I grew up, I always thought all lazy boys were recliners, but they make a lot of stuff. And Lonnie's Furniture Company, they have more lazy boys than the Lazy Boy store, and at better prices because they've had that relationship with the factory for all those years. 91 years in business. And if you want to really trick out a good movie watching room, get you a pair or two or three of those things at the prices that they have right now, and you'll be happy. You'll be so happy. I'll tell you, ladies, there's not a guy in the world that doesn't want his own space. When it comes to nap time or watching this, guy wants his own defined space. You can't beat that. It's the Lazy Boy at Lonnie's Furniture Company this weekend, on sale and ready to go. They'll bring them to you. What a nice Christmas gift, Lonnie'sFurnitureCompany.com. All right, I've been excited about Tina getting in here. You were supposed to be here yesterday, but I screwed up. How you doing, Tina?
I was where I was supposed to be.
Yeah, you were at my house, at my home studio, and I had come in here. We're working on some technical things here in the studio, so I've been in here all week. But I'm excited for you for this weekend. I hate that I'm going to miss it. I get to go see my grandson, so I'm going to do some traveling.
Yeah.
But I do love your event. You invited me to it years ago. I can't remember how long we've been doing this. Probably 8 or 9, 10 years or something.
At least that.
And I didn't know what I was getting into, and I went over there and was amazed at how the show is put together and all the work y'all put into it. Let's start at the beginning for people that don't know what we're talking about. It's the Blue Light Art.
We're taking a riff on the old Kmart Blue Light special.
I remember that.
So we took that and ran with it because it's a discount art show, and there's no other discount art shows around.
Yeah.
Because, they don't let you bring seconds and galleries don't, but that's what we celebrate because that's part of the making.
Sure.
It's
going to
happen.
Still handmade.
Yeah.
So let's explain how that works and what the whole setup is. Let's start from, like I don't know anything. Tell me like I'm dumb.
Okay, so I've been doing art shows my whole life, mostly. And I've met some fabulous artists. And when I bought this building in 2006, it's 24,000 square feet. It's huge. And I got ready to do my show. I thought, well, we've got the space. Invite in these other people. So that's how it started out, and everybody that comes brings their seconds with them. They bring the good stuff too, but they bring some that are slightly flawed or not exactly the way they wanted them to be, or they've moved on and they're doing a different something. They bring, their artwork, and they mark it down, and the public loves it because they're getting fabulous art at discount prices, and it's the only place you can do that.
And you do an event within the event because you got the charity portion of it too. So there's a lot going on there.
Right.
So not only y'all get to do some really unique Christmas shopping, get some deals, but you can also do some good with the way y'all do that.
It's a give back, but you're getting as much as you're giving because
if not more, yeah.
So we specialize in dishes for chefs and restaurants. So we donate 200 of our bowls. And my chefs donate the soup and the bread. This year it's Jeffrey Compton from the Armour House, which is one of Birmingham's finest
wonderful
restaurants.
Places, yeah.
Really nice.
Yep.
We've got the Three-Eared Rabbit doing beer cheese soup, and of course Rusty's doing his famous Brunswick stew. So for $25, you get a bowl of soup. It's not in the bowl you're taking home. It's in actually just a little, paper cup kind of thing that you can take home. But you get to choose, take your bowl home. It's a $50 bowl. And you're paying $25 for a gourmet lunch, and you keep that $50 bowl, and we give all the money to First Light Women's Shelter and the Well House. And everybody knows what the First Light Women's Shelter is, but not many people are familiar with the Well House, which rescue women and girls from human trafficking, sexual slavery.
They work with our buddies at Covenant Rescue quite a bit. These guys are doing such good work out there. Here's a tip, though. We'll give you a little tip. I think you should raise your price. We've been
doing that all along, yeah.
Yeah, but it seems like it's been $25 for a while. I think people would pay more. It's a good value.
Yeah.
people would give a little bit more. But
Well,
y'all are welcome to give a little
exactly,
bit more.
and a lot
too.
of people do. Many,
Yeah.
many people do. Just throw an extra $5-10 in the bucket for these charities, and
Yeah.
because it's all good.
What drew you to those two charities?
I guess being a woman
Mm.
and feeling the vulnerabilities of being at risk
Yeah.
and not having a firm footing and realizing that at any moment any of us could be in that situation.
And having empathy for the young ladies that
Yeah.
are out there that don't know where to turn. and
Exactly.
These groups do such good work. So your money goes to them.
And it's local.
Yeah. But you get an incredible gourmet soup.
Yes.
Now, I had that beer cheese soup. Let me tell you this story.
Yep.
The last time we were in your shop, we came by to buy some things.
Mhm.
We were going to pick some things out for our Christmas, for our family Christmas, because Jessica went wild over some of your dishes, and you were kind enough to make those for us. Huge hit, by the way.
Okay.
Huge hit. And so we were starving that day. I was like, I got to eat something. What's close by?
Mhm.
And we go down to the Three-Eared Rabbit, which is downtown Leeds. I
Right.
didn't even know this. I lived 10 minutes from here. I didn't even know this place was there.
Yeah.
It really was amazing. So I had the beer cheese soup. The second time we went back later. It's pretty good.
It is
Pretty
good.
good. But I ordered too much. I ordered I think a bowl instead of a cup, and
Right.
that's a lot of soup.
Yeah.
That's a kind of a Birmingham staple too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mhm.
So they're going to have that.
And the Brunswick stew, and I don't know what Jeffrey's bringing yet from the Armor House.
Yep.
So it's always a surprise with these guys.
And we've been there many times. That's just over
Yeah.
the hill from us as well. So
Yeah.
that's going to be excellent food. So perfect cold kind of weather weekend for that. Yeah, and by the way, when they don't put the soup in your bowl that you're getting.
No.
The bowl's still a gift.
Right.
You get the soup.
It's in a
separately,
carton
and
with a
then,
top. So if you don't want to eat the soup there, you can take it home. And if you want to buy an extra serving, it's $5
and
for
even
an extra serving.
even re-gift the bowl if you
Yeah,
really
there
feel
you
like
go.
giving. You can give to the charities and then get the bowl and
Right.
re-gift that to somebody you love in your family.
Yeah, we in the past people have come in just to buy the bowls, and we discourage that. We want everyone, to have the opportunity to sit and eat their soup and buy the bowls.
What surprised me is you have almost as many men as you do women that come to this
Yeah.
thing. Because, like, for me, I like the leather guy. Is he back this year? The guy that does all the leather stuff?
I think he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just like the smell of his booth when I walk
Right,
by. And
right.
first time I went, I bought some journals. My boys like the journal, and I bought him some macho-looking leather journals. And he makes such nice stuff. I think I've bought a couple of wallets from him over the years.
Right.
So he's one of my favorites. But there's it's not just sort of feminine artsy stuff.
No,
There's a lot of cool things
no.
there too.
We do. There's a glass not maker, but they fuse glass and do glass work. We've got all kinds of jewelers and fiber artists, and it's just a good balanced show. Now there is a lot of pottery and there is a lot of jewelry, but there's all this other stuff too.
How much do the vendors just love getting to do this? Because they get to get rid of some inventory, meet the community, and do a
And
different kind of art
It's
show.
the last art show of the year.
Yeah, where they're just done.
Yeah, and that's something for the public to know too. If you want to buy art at an art show, there's no more art shows this year
Yep,
anywhere.
that's it.
Yeah.
For the handmade stuff.
Because
And I guess in that community, you can give me a peek into it. You sort of, what would you do? A lot of production in the winter, and then the art festival season really starts in the spring again, right?
well, we work all the time,
Yeah.
and artists will take bits and pieces of time here and there and work on them, and develop their own inventory. And they don't go to different shows during the year, and they're carrying all this stuff around. And occasionally things get a little frayed around the edge, kind of like me sometimes.
And how's Nathan doing? You worked him to the bone.
He is amazing.
To get that whole place ready. That's
Yep.
a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
I told him the other day I'd never seen your shop when it wasn't blue light because
Yep.
I just hadn't been by there during your work week.
Yeah.
And so we went in there a couple of weeks ago, well, before Thanksgiving, to do those selections. And you gave us a nice tour of the whole place. I didn't even know it was that big. And then I realized how much work y'all have to do to move all that stuff just to make room for this art show. So how long does it take you to do all that?
At least 2 weeks.
And you got to clean a little bit. 'Cause
Well,
there's
every
that
year we clean the
dust.
building.
Yeah. There's that
Once a year.
dust of the pottery that's
Right.
just part of
well,
it.
now
yeah.
that we do, we have a floor scrubber. We were talking about that today at lunch. That costs more than my car. That we keep the floors and the dust down, because that's the only thing in a pottery studio that will kill you.
Dust in the air. Yeah.
Is the
And
the
it's just
silica
part of it. Yeah.
So we keep that under control really well.
Yep. And it will look. It's a beautiful event. It's a fun event. Now let me give you some Leland Live tips.
Okay.
Okay. Not you, but the audience.
Okay.
You got to get there
I'm
early.
open.
You got to
Right.
get there early because I'm telling you, I have rolled up in there. I came to visit when the doors opened one time, and there was already a line.
There is a line.
It's a little hard to park if you get there too late. And then you got me have to go down toward
Across the Food Giant.
Yeah.
You can park at the Food Giant.
They'll let you park there and
Yep.
walk across.
Right.
Okay. And you're located right there on 78, almost in downtown Leeds, but
Yep.
not quite in that
Exactly.
little downtown area.
Yeah. As you come up the hill after you pass Buc-ee's
Mm-hmm.
and going toward downtown, you'll see a sign with an iron skillet on it that says Laney's Country Cooking.
Yep.
Well, Laney's is closed now, but the sign is still there, so it's a good landmark for you to grab onto. And once you see that, I am right there, right before it.
Because you'll see the cars, you'll see the
Yep.
crowd out there.
Yeah, we've got a sign up front.
And like any show like this, I suppose there's finite inventory. So the earlier you get there,
Right.
the better the pickings.
Yep.
But you still have nice stuff on Sunday. Some people
Right.
can't make it till Sunday.
Well, and here's the thing: this is a couple years ago. We ran out of inventory, and I realized I need to be selling all of my stuff. So what we do now is, for the last 3 weeks, we've been glazing for this show, and they're first, and there's more firsts than there are seconds, but everything is 20% off. We don't discount this. None of my retailers discount this at any other time of year, but everything, including the seconds, are 20% off. This is one time a year we do that. Everything is 20%.
So, and that's just your stuff, which
Just
people
my stuff.
clamor over anyway because
Right.
you've got your whole showroom.
Right. Now, other artists set their own discounts.
Yeah.
But for us, we just thought it'd be easier across the board. People collect the stuff, and this is one time where they stock up.
Mm-hmm. And there's a $2 suggested donation at the door.
At
It's
the
just
door.
a donation. It goes to the same charity.
Yep, it does.
That works out. Well, I'm glad you don't have rain.
I know.
You've got an older building, and first time I went, you were struggling with some leak issues.
We
y'all
do,
were still going
always.
like troopers there.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I meet some of the nicest people there every year. And the first time I went, there were a lot of husbands just kind of lollygagging. And then we
Well-
all kind of grouped up in the corner, and all the guys. And then next thing you know, we're walking around looking at stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, that's one of the interesting things to me about my pottery is how many men like it. And
Yeah.
men are not accustomed to noticing china or your dishes that you eat on. But these look like something out of a hunting lodge or something.
Yeah,
it's
they're
very rustic.
organic, heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I like my coffee mug that I got from years ago. It's heavy, and I
Durable.
like it
We
in my
say
hand.
Durable.
Durable.
I'm sturdy. I'm not heavy.
Sturdy. Well, that goes back to my family heritage too, which we've talked about a lot. My grandfather was a potter. His
Right.
grandfather was
Right.
a potter. And so we've got that sort of visceral connection to
Right.
it was my childhood growing up around all this stuff.
It's
And
very
It's
powerful.
like going home when I see your where you fire everything and the glazes and stuff. It's what I grew up around, so I love it.
Well, I love that my grandchildren are coming up in it.
That was my
And-
very next question.
Yes.
Who are you going to pass this
yes,
on to one day?
and they're already making pots, and they're
They-
already working there
This you
for
didn't-
free.
You didn't come
No
here-
child labor.
Got it. You didn't come here to promote anything but the art show, but I'll tell you, you do a school there if people want to get into it.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a minute? 'Cause
Yeah.
I love to see in your classroom where you do all that
Right.
stuff.
We have a 3,000 square foot classroom, and we've got 13 wheels, and we have, gosh, at this point, I think we have 8 classes a week. We have day classes and night classes. We have beginner classes. We have hand building classes versus on the wheel. Some people don't like it going 90 miles an hour under
kinda
their
fast,
hands,
yeah.
right? Where slabs are more calm and slow, and you can manipulate the clay in a different manner.
That's where you just kind of squish it around and make shapes.
Well, you take your flat clay and drape it over something else or into something and take the form. Like if you've got a favorite Tupperware bowl at home
Yeah.
and you wanted a pottery bowl like that, you bring it to the classroom
And it becomes the mold.
Yeah, it's the
Interesting.
form for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've got to bring my daughter-in-law by there whenever she comes to town because she's into it too.
Yeah.
She actually does these little sabbaticals and goes and does this. She needs to see your shop.
The classroom is what kept us alive during COVID.
That was the other memory I had. You had me out there one Saturday during COVID. You remember I was wearing a face shield?
Right, everybody was.
Everybody had
Yeah.
on masks,
Yeah.
but y'all did the show anyway.
Yeah,
You
yeah, we
kept
did.
going.
Yeah, we did.
You didn't stop for COVID. I love that.
Yeah.
Yep. Those are good memories. I'm proud of the way it's gone and how big it's gotten. And I'm just telling the audience, it's one of the most unique things you can go do for gift giving for Christmas
Right.
because everything else is sort of Amazon and generic. And
Right.
y'all don't give them another gift card. Give them
Right.
something special that's handmade.
Nobody will have another one like it.
And these pieces, to me, what makes them so they've got you can connect with the artist because you're going to meet the artist in a lot of cases. There's a story that goes with it,
Right.
and you get to give that story along with.
Right. And you
the
may have
piece.
an interest in making jewelry
Yeah, and
or
they're
doing this, and
yeah.
these people are anxious to tell you about it.
because it's a community. They're not. It's what I love about artsy people. A lot of my musician friends are like this. It's not competitive. It's supportive.
Right.
They encourage other people to get into it, and they want to help.
We know
So,
how much work it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the chefs like our pottery is because we have an affinity there. We both take our ingredients out of the ground.
Exactly.
We rearrange them according to our experience. We put them in the fire, and
That's
then
heavy.
we offer them up to other people.
That is heavy.
Yeah.
That
And
is
we
totally
and we
heavy.
all knew what we wanted to do before we, early on.
Somebody from the Mayberry switchboard's calling you on your phone. I like that old ringtone. Tina's getting a call. All right, break time, so we'll do that. Tina, thanks for coming back. And again, apologies yesterday for the scheduling screw up.
No worries. It was fun.
It was nice having you back here
Nice
today.
drive in the country.
And y'all have a great time this weekend. I want to hear all about it come Monday.
All right.
All right, it's one more time because people just getting in the car. Blue Light Art Show.
Special. Blue
Blue
Light
Light
Special.
Art Show.
Right up the hill from Bucky's.
Just like the old Kmart thing, right up from Bucky's, and artists, incredible deals, lots of people, great gift giving at Earthborn Studios in Leeds.
And soup.
And soup. And the soup and the chair. Oh, I can't forget because she's going to throw something at me. Marty Duncan's coming.
Yes, she is.
She's gonna
Marty will
bring her
be there.
books.
I've got her books there already.
Yep, she'll be signing her books,
Yep.
and there's a whole nother celebrity angle. You better give her a big corner over there to sign
She's
her
got
books.
one. She has a line too.
All right, so y'all go meet Marty, and she's proud to be able to participate in this too. I love it. All right, y'all, quick break. Back in a minute. Y'all go see them Saturday, and we'll see y'all next week.
Thanks.
Back in a minute. All right, y'all, 425, Leland Live, talking to M5 as we get on down the road here on a Thursday night. Birmingham Broker next up here on the show. If you're going to be doing any car trading here toward the end of the year, in the new year, y'all keep Birmingham Broker in mind. I'm going to tell you, once you ever do this and have this experience, you will never trade a vehicle a different way again. It just takes all the hassle out of it, and you net a whole lot more money than even trying to sell it for yourself retail, but even more importantly, of course, way more than if you go trade one in. Y'all don't fall in that trap. We get in love with a new one somewhere. We just want that old one gone so we can make the deal work, and they will rip you off. That's their business. I don't blame them. They're going to give you wholesale, which is thousands worth less than your car's really worth. Y'all ever gotten that routine? You're sitting in a little cubicle waiting on the salesman. He comes in and says, well, you're upside down in your car. You're not upside down. They're just not giving you enough. Sell it retail, then go back and see that knucklehead and buy a car from him. It's Birmingham Broker, Craig and Keith and that whole team. They know what it's worth, and they know how to sell it, and they're downtown Birmingham, 4th Avenue South. BHAMBroker.com. All right, we have bounced around with a bunch of weird stories today. We're watching this trial prelims. We're a little bit watching this the drama as it relates to this soap opera with the Michigan coach. He ain't the first person to go down this road, but it is getting a lot of attention in the headlines tonight. And I'm trying to make sure I'm not skipping anything else before we move on. The Venezuelan ship update. According to the White House, we're going to see some more of those boats because they're being used for illegal oil that's being put on the market. And it's a pressure tactic to squeeze Venezuela. And we're going to go through a legal process to perhaps even keep that oil and get it moved. The thing about Venezuelan oil, a little side note, they're floating on oil in that country, and it made them at one point one of the wealthiest countries in the world and the second wealthiest in this hemisphere until the commies took over. And the history lesson on that is they weren't promising starvation and wrecking their economy and civil war and gangs of government officials shooting people in the streets, which is what always happens with socialism. The old saying is you vote your way in and you have to shoot your way out, and that's where they are now. They promised free health care and free college tuition and free this and free that, and they can't ever deliver that. No government can deliver that, and they took an oil industry that was thriving and wrecked it. They tried to nationalize it. They stole the assets from the companies that were working there. They were too dumb to run it themselves. All the American companies abandoned them, and now they can still get it out of the ground, but it's a slow production, and they've lost on the world stage. The oil that comes out of there, though, is super thick. It's harder to refine. It's a more difficult oil than some of the oil that's also sold around the world. It turns out the United States has a thinner version and a more refinable version. So this oil, I don't know what it's worth or how much was on that ship, but it does have value. And, you know, I saw somebody saying the other day, why didn't they just bomb that boat? You don't bomb an oil tanker and create an environmental disaster. And this wasn't part of the drug interdiction. This was a whole different concept and a different approach. But the White House today with bold acknowledgement that there will be more seizures if they continue to ship around international sanctions. Fascinating. All right, that's another side story in the news today. One more time. Well, I don't have time to do that. Let's just go to the bottom of the hour break, and we'll come right back. If y'all want to get in the show and bring something fresh, come on. We got time for calls tonight. 545-9950, Leland Live, Talk 99.5. 435 Leland Live. Work Trucks is also downtown Birmingham, and they've got your business trucks. If you're looking at maybe starting your own thing in 2026 and you're going to need a truck, this is the place to start with your truck. You're not going to overpay for it. You're going to get a good deal because these are pre-owned. The depreciation hit's gone. They've got a few miles on them. Work Trucks finds the best of these off lease, brings them back to Birmingham. Then they go through them 125 points to make everything right on those vehicles. They will not put one on the lot that does not pass that inspection. Even new tires, if they need them, when they're ready to go. You go down there and kick those tires and look around and ask questions. They can finance you. They can take a trade-in. They've got extended warranties. This is the turnkey place to make your business work, to take care of your overhead, but have a nice truck to get to your customers looking good, looking professional, and reliably with a fine box truck, flatbed, pickup truck, service body truck, any of those from Work Trucks. Put an X in there when you spell it, Trux. Work Trucks, LLC.com, Work Trucks, LLC.com. All right, let's do some phone calls. We'll do some randomness. We'll do some speed dialing. Y'all bring whatever you got. I don't care. I'm loose. I'm off tomorrow. I'm gold bricking. Boomer, what's up, buddy?
Hey, good afternoon, Leland. I just want to remind everybody, if you're going over to the Crafts, I forgot the name of it. But anyhow, if you want to get your soup, you're going to have to get there quick, because every time I show up, I don't get the bowl, I don't get the soup. I just can't seem to get there on time. That soup goes quick.
Yeah, they do. It's usually I would say going by lunchtime if you don't get there early. So I'd get there early if you can.
Oh, absolutely. But from what I hear, it's always good. It's always really good. Hey, man, guess what I did today?
What'd you do today?
I celebrated the fact that my wife got out of the hospital yesterday, and she's healing up fine. Thank you for all the prayers. But I spent the day with Jamar over at Homewood Toy Store, and then we took all the Jamar Smith from the Birmingham Stallions, the quarterback for the Birmingham Stallions.
Yeah.
So we went toy shopping for the kids at Children's Hospital. It was me and the Horseman and Jamar. We just went in there. We loaded up a bunch of toys. We took them over to UAB to the Gumdrop shop, Santa Claus Gumdrop shop, and dropped off a bunch of toys for the little ones for Christmas. If you're looking for something for your dad for Christmas, get him some season tickets to the Stallions games, because I guarantee you that he will have a great time.
When does their season start back? I'm gonna have to eventually do this because you're the biggest Stallions booster on the planet. When do they start back?
I'm imagining probably March-ish.
Yeah,
we haven't
it's
got
a spring
anything
thing.
set
Yeah.
firm yet. We haven't got a schedule set, but I'm imagining sometime in March.
Are they for sure going to be back in Birmingham? Is that settled now?
Absolutely.
I know there was a minute they
Yes.
weren't going to be here, I guess.
Yes, we are absolutely stocked down, ready to go. We are here in Birmingham. We will still be at Preventive Stadium and, Protective Stadium. You know, if you prevent, you don't need protection. But yeah,
True
we'll
that.
be at
True that. All right,
we'll
Boomer.
be here in Birmingham, and it's a great time. So
Look, man, I'm glad
yeah.
your wife's doing better. The prayers from the audience are sincere for folks that are part of the show all the
Absolutely.
time.
And the blessings. And
y'all
the
been
blessings
through it.
that we are so thankful for y'all. Y'all have a great evening. Be safe. 280's just a parking lot right now. So
I know it.
Be careful.
All right, Boomer. Thanks, man. And y'all have a Merry Christmas in your home. It's good to get that update. He was with us on Friday night talking about his wife's surgery. And, boy, it's just hard this time of the year when you're dealing with all that. Here's another story. I'm going to flip back to economic stuff. They're just little stories being presented left and right. You know, we had the Eli Lilly story in Huntsville. And then we just had the report at the top of the hour where Hegseth is coming down for the Space Command launch in Huntsville. Rightly, Huntsville has finally won that contract. And then Tommy Tuberville put an announcement out today. They put it out on Facebook, but his office, that Fannie Mae, the mortgage operation, y'all know about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. The Federal Housing Authority Director Bill Pulte, I think is how you pronounce his name, are going to move the offices of Fannie Mae to Alabama from California. Now, I don't see here in the story, they're coming to Birmingham. That's a huge story for Birmingham. Birmingham is falling behind some of the other more aggressive metro areas in our state. In fact, as a metro area, not the whole market, not the whole metro area, but inside the city limits of Birmingham. I think Huntsville is now actually bigger than Birmingham. It has outgrown Birmingham. So the growth opportunities continue up there. Birmingham's kind of stagnant and landlocked because you got the city center and you got little towns that surround it, and there's not as much outgrowth or opportunity. And then you've got some other environmental issues that have plagued the city, that and the infighting and the good old boy system that's City Hall and just a mess. But it's good to see Birmingham get a win. These will be office type jobs from that relocation. I don't see a number on the story, though. I was looking to see, let me scroll down here and see if they put that in the story, how many jobs that would include. But I suppose there's a prestige factor, and you've got two things going on. California is steadily losing these Class A office space type jobs. It's a different kind of state in terms of the agriculture. That can't go anywhere. California is one of the biggest agricultural states in the country, the Central Valley. You got to grow that stuff where the soil is, right? So they'll always maintain that. And they've still got an edge on the world with the tech sector and a lot of that stuff that's around Simi Valley and around, they call the whole place Silicon Valley. Last time I was out there by car, I was driving down one road in Palo Alto, and I've never seen a building. I think the building, it was Facebook, and that building was 2 miles long. I mean, you just keep driving. There's this giant white building. It looks like a huge warehouse, and it's all Facebook. So that was the birthplace of that industry, and for good reason, they're still hanging on to it. But even some of that, because of the AI push, and here's how that's working out. I know this may be nerdy to some of y'all, but I'm going to spill for just a few minutes. So in the new model for AI data production, you've got to have a lot of electricity. Most folks understand that about this industry. Now, some of the highest electricity rates in the country are in Maine and in California. It's in all the blue states. You think your power bill's high, they're paying double what the rest of the country's paying. So there's a disincentive to go to a state like that, despite the tech sector. Say, if you want to build big AI infrastructure, you'd think the natural place to do it, the synergistic place to do it, would be out in the San Francisco area or near Palo Alto, which is all the same to us. But the electricity's too expensive, and they don't have the capacity. They've got too hard a regulatory environment with all the weird rules that they have, and not just for infrastructure construction and the energy output, but for personnel, for hiring, the wage standards. They're running everybody off. So now with the AI industry, what they're trying to do is co-locate the data centers near the electrical production. So you're going to see more and more of these centers pop up closer to some of the electrical plants out here in rural America where there's more land. This whole fight over in Bessemer is part of this discussion. It's massive properties that are needed for this stuff. Some worry that it's going to cause spikes in electricity cost just for the infrastructure alone to consumers the more you get these data centers. And at some point, there is a trade-off. I mean, you get a lot of construction jobs out of it, but there's not a whole lot of people in those big, giant buildings. It's just rows and rows and miles of cable and computer processors that suck up a lot of electricity. So at some point in our country, if we're going to be competitive in this war and we're on a footing to finally do it with our chips and this concept, we got to be able to build these centers and do so efficiently with energy production. You've got to have the electricity to do it. California's not going to be a natural place to do that. In fact, people are trying to run from it. So you're seeing more of the Midwest and some of the South and some of the places out West start to move in that direction. That is going to pull the tech sector in that direction as well. You're going to need to put these things close together. There's also a lot less electricity loss if your data center is closer to the plant that produces the electricity. Does that make sense? You don't have to run the lines as far. The whole world's going to be changed. I'm telling you, this is coming at us so quickly. The next 5 to 7 years, the whole world will be different with this stuff, not only in what it does in our lives, but the way it reconfigures the economy. And there are things on the horizon we can't even fathom right now. But again, back to the state competition, California's on the losing side of that. They are coasting off the success they've had the last 30 years in tech, and it's keeping their state in a really good position. I mean, look, it's an incredibly beautiful state with some incredibly brilliant people, but they're peeing in their own cornflakes all the time with the burdensome hand of government. It's always the case. So there's a little lesson. We got Fannie Mae coming to Birmingham. Interesting. All right, back here in just a minute. Oh, before I do that, let me talk about Hueytown Pawn. Tommy he keeps hitting me with so many deals. I'm like, Tommy, dude, you can't just give the whole store away, and that's not a gimmick. He wants to get you in the store. They're relatively new advertisers here on the show. My first impression was the incredible selection of sound suppressors that they have. They're smart. Tommy can see over the hill, and he saw with the tax stamp coming off the sound suppressors and them becoming more readily available, it's going to be a demand spike. So he went and bought up the market. He bought everything he could. I don't know how many thousands of dollars they spent on inventory. But of all the places in the world, you'll bounce from gun shop to gun shop, and it's hard to find suppressors right now. They can't make them fast enough. Tommy's got them on the shelf, ready to go. Some of the best names in that industry, great prices, and a lot of selection. So that was one of the first things that impressed me. This isn't just a pawn shop. It's a legitimate gun store with everything that you're looking for, the AR platforms, nice handgun selection, lots of hunting stuff. And in fact, on the hunting stuff, 10% off their hunting selection, certain items as we go through the holidays. Particularly, here's a deal. I told Tommy, I said, just give me a price on one of those. Tell me what that looks like with the discounts. So on the Ruger American Gen 2 rifles, these are new rifles. These are not things people have brought into the store, which, by the way, they have a huge pre-owned selection too. But these Ruger American Gen 2s, $539. That's all the calibers that they have. That is a great value for the gift giving this Christmas. If you got somebody that needs a nice rifle and a good hunting setup, you can't beat the name Ruger on anything. They're at Hueytown Pawn, and they're ready to go. Good weekend to go shopping over there. Go take advantage of all the deals. The Vector scopes, again, the pre-owned inventory, and all the other platforms that they sell. Man, their prices are so good. I've already bought 2 of them from them in just the last couple of months. Hueytown Pawn, Brook Lane Drive. Y'all go see them. Hueytown Pawn. All right, y'all, 452. Let's keep on going. Storm Restoration Roofing next up here on the show. That's my man, Greg Nelson. I just reached out to him today. I got a little project I'm pulling together. May need his help on. There's no one I would trust more than Greg to get him up on your house and take care of anything you've got with your roof. One, he's just a good guy. He's a solid, good guy with all of his sons and his whole family, even some of his daughters working in the business, helping them with so many different parts of their operation. Now, they're just the best when it comes to a roof install, getting it done right. Here's some things you need to know. There are manufacturers' warranties on roofing products, only if they're put in right. If you get some shoddy fly-by-night roofer, or they put a bunch of guys that just got here from El Salvador on your house and they don't do it right, you're not going to have your warranty honored. It's got to be installed correctly. That's one. Two, there are times when insurance companies will judge the lifespan of your roof, what's left in it, what you have available left in the life of your roof, by how it looks from a satellite photo. I didn't even know this. That means you need to keep it clean. They have started doing cleaning services. Well, they've been doing it, but they're newly emphasizing the technology's changed. There are these solvents available now that make it a whole lot easier to make that roof look new again. If you have a northern slope that faces north, just like my house, that one side of the house just looked terrible at one point. The other side looked brand new. The house isn't that old. So it turns out it just needed a good cleaning. They've got these solvents to come and do that. It'll look perfect when they're done. It's very low pressure, doesn't harm the roof at all. Y'all look into it. It is Storm Restoration Roofing for emergency stuff, insurance claims. Greg's even gone out and found some finance companies that can come alongside and help you with those gigantic deductibles. How many of y'all actually know what your deductible is? That's the biggest shock of your life. You haven't read the fine print in your policy and you have a roof claim. Suddenly you're like, oh, but you got a $7,000 deductible. You ought to look that up and make sure you know what you're getting into. Let Greg help. He knows all the adjusters. He knows the rules, knows how to file a good claim and get that roof taken care of, whether it's age or whether it's a storm or damage or something like that. Storm Restoration Roofing. He works on a phone number, so jot this down. I give it to you every night. 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531. All right, let's do some hodgepodge stuff. Turns out the judge in the case, the Charlie Kirk shooter case, has decided they are going to allow cameras in the courtroom when the trial starts. I don't see a start date on that. I'm sure they'll set that too at this hearing. Court calendars can be tricky because judges actually don't have complete control of them. In other cases, can bump things around, unforeseen events. Anybody that's ever been involved in not just a criminal case, but a civil case, calendars are almost always flexible. And for a number of reasons, things get put off. But I think they're getting close enough to actually go into trial on this. And I believe this is just going to be one of those, such a sensational, there's so much spectacle already around all of the facts and the different components of this case. And I've talked about this a lot tonight. It's disgusting. It's the world we're in, though. You don't know what's real anymore. You wait till AI is even more ubiquitous when it's going to be hard to tell truth from fiction. I was listening to someone talk about this a few days ago. I mean, this is in addition to the attention whores that are all over social media trying to get clicks and make money off any kind of controversy. But I was listening to somebody talk about this the other day. It's not just that we won't know about the stuff that's fake and we won't be able to spot it as well. We're going to lose our sense of what's real. Does that make sense? Things that are legit will be presented to us, and our reflexive knee-jerk instinct is going to be to look at it and go, well, that may not be real, but it is real. And then if you're in that position, I mean, what happens next? So in this case, live cameras in this world, in this particular case, and I've made my case a couple of times tonight, I think most reasonable people understand that the public has a right to have the information of this case. In the older days of our country, allowing the public to see a case played out it goes all the way back to the founders. They absolutely wanted public trials. They didn't want a secretive process. That's why they built balconies in all these courtrooms all over Alabama, beautiful courtrooms with big balconies so the public could come and watch what was happening. So our government, if it decided to prosecute somebody, it had to do it in the daylight. Of course, they could not have imagined the technology that we have now and how widespread the public viewing would be. But nonetheless, it's the world we live in. That murder was very public. Everything about this case has been hyper public and analyzed. And it's only fair to the country that they have cameras in this courtroom. Now, along those lines as well, I was listening to some legal scholars today go back and forth, and this was one of the guys, I think it was Jonathan Turley on Fox News giving this analysis. And, of course, he's a law professor, and I listen to some of these guys, and especially when they disagree, because a lot of how you interpret these things can be subjective. But he made an incredible point. In a case like this, we had a public figure, and every now and then we have assassinations of thought leaders, then the public itself is a victim of this assassination. And so, and I hate to use the word victim because it's so abused nowadays. We are participants in it because this guy had a following of people that have an interest in the case. It's beyond a domestic abuse situation or others that are more narrow. This was a public execution done for political reasons, we believe. That gives the public a strong interest in everything that happens because of the nature of the case. Forget that it's Charlie Kirk. It could have been Martin Luther King. It could have been anybody else that were bold and went out and spoke about things they believed, whether they were controversial or not, knowing the danger, did it anyway, and wound up assassinated for it. The public absolutely has a right to be in on this case and to see the evidence presented and to understand the outcome. And so I think the judge in this case has made a pretty good decision. And a lot of folks believed he would go in that direction, but there had been pretty convincing arguments too, in some ways, on the other side that, and I've gone through this on the show already tonight, you didn't want to OJ the case. You didn't want to turn it into spectacle where the courtroom itself spins into a TV show and it drags on for months and months. So far, this judge seems to be moving expeditiously. He makes quick decisions. He's thought through what's going to happen in his courtroom that day. And I hope they continue on this path. That'd be a good thing for the country. All right, enough of that. Let's go to the top of the hour news. We'll come back. One more hour to go. Your phone calls too, 545-9950 if you want to get in here. Bring it. I'll be off tomorrow, heading doing some weekend travel. I believe Will is doing the show for me tomorrow night. So y'all bring the heat with the Chubb Father. April Marie taking care of business on Monday, and I'll be back soon thereafter. All right, y'all, back here in a minute. Leland Live. Let's do this last hour. Leland Live, Talk 99.5. Y'all get on in here. If you want to give us a phone call, 545-9950. Let's go back to the top, go through some of the stories in the news, see what other trouble we can stir up. The news kind of got real slow this afternoon, but that's fine with me. We can loosen up and do some other things. First up, to me, the weather, the big story this weekend is going to be this cold snap, this Arctic blast that's heading toward us. This really settles in here. I think there's some rain ahead of it. And then there's a super cold snap on Sunday night down into the teens. Right now, they've got one of the maps I'm looking at has Birmingham at about 19 degrees. I guess that would be the morning low on Monday morning as y'all get ready to get up and go back to work and do all your things ahead of Christmas. And so I would tell you, just go ahead and do any kind of outdoor preps you might need to do. This is a deep, hard freeze. The thing is, it's not going to last long. We'll have a few days of it, but then according to the long-range forecast, there's going to be a pattern flip, and we're going to go back into the upper 60s and 70s toward Christmas. It's kind of a heat wave that's going to build in, making things kind of balmy for the rest of the state. So a complete flip, if you take the 17-degree or 19-degree low and then go back up to 70, we're going to have 50 or 60-degree swing here in the next 2 or 3 weeks ahead of Christmas. So just prepare for all that. Don't put any clothes away yet. You're going to need all of them. And then it's Alabama weather, man. Really, the whole country's affected by this. These are big, big weather systems that are moving around. So to me, that is one of the headlines. The other has been this Charlie Kirk preliminary hearing today. The folks in the hearing back and forth over the security measures and whether or not they're going to allow cameras in the courtroom. I gave quite a bit of time to that last hour as the decision was finally made to go ahead and let's have a televised trial. So I'll be searching around to see if they established a trial date, and I went through that a second ago too. That's always fungible. Trial date can move around, but they've got to have a target to shoot for to get their court case going, and the whole country will be watching this thing on those pool feeds. We will be locked down by it here in just a few weeks as they're got that hearing. I believe they're all wrapped up this afternoon out in Provo. Then we had this story this afternoon too, more of a prestige thing than anything. But Tommy Tuberville's office announced that Fannie Mae, the mortgage operation, it's really known as the Federal National Mortgage Association. Fannie Mae is just sort of a euphemistic, almost an acronym. It's been based in San Francisco, but now they're going to move their offices to the city of Birmingham. So that's a pretty good move for Birmingham. I don't see in the story, I went back and looked at it again, I don't see a jobs number total and whether they're going to move those Californians that work for the agency from there to here or if they're just going to hire people to work for Fannie Mae here. But it's government work, but still it's office space and a prestigious thing, I suppose, to have in downtown Birmingham. So Fannie Mae, there's Fannie Mae and there's Freddie Mac. Those are two different programs, but they're all in the news tonight with all that coming here in the same week where we got an interest rate reduction, and that's interesting too. Hey, my buddy April Marie just reached out. She's going to be filling in for us next week. She just sent me a text that says, can I call on my Vestavia Book Fair story? I was like, yes, you can. So she's maybe calling in here in a minute on the hotline, Orlando in for AJ tonight. We always appreciate her, a good friend of the show. She does her homework, man. She goes after these lately, AM, I call her AM sometimes. She's been going after the some of this woke nonsense in our schools and what's being put in our kids' faces. And I saw the headline on this earlier today, but she found in some kind of book fair that they had over in Liberty Park where they had a bunch of LGBTQ stuff, and the state has come forward and passed a law on that some of that material should be put in adult places, not those spaces where kids have access. And so it's an ongoing thing. It's like whack-a-mole. They keep a lot of these folks keep continuing to do that. The thing is, if you understand that, and I've got some friends of friends of friends that work in the, I guess, academic book industry, and I've learned some insights to that stuff. These are, like a lot of the corporations in the country, very woke operations. And these are private sellers who sell books to schools. And I just got trapped at a book fair not too long ago. I went to see my kindergartner, my oldest grandchild, do a kindergarten. They had Grandparents' Day. It was my first Grandparents' Day. And you know what they do on Grandparents' Day? They trap you. So when you walk in the door, you walk through the book fair. And then on your way out, after your kid sings the little songs and does whatever, you come back through the book fair, and they're going to be looking at you with those big old eyes wanting you to buy them a book. And what did Pops do? Bought all the books and a couple of toys while I was at it. So, but some of these things, you've got to use your discretion as a parent, and schools will put on these book fairs. It's an interesting dynamic, too, because it's also like a trapped audience for a private sector company providing these books. Some of these companies mean well, and some of them just don't take conservative viewpoints seriously at all, and they keep shoving this agenda stuff into the library shelves and into the schools. So April Marie's on to another one over at the Liberty Park, I believe it was elementary school. AM joining us on the show here on this Thursday night. What you got, April Marie? I didn't get a chance to read the whole story today, but I did see your headline.
That's okay. It's Liberty Park Middle School, but here's the catch. The catch is it's in every middle school that has a book fair this semester. And so it's already been in a lot of schools around the community. And what they have is 3 books. One of them, now this is for the middle schools. This is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. One of the books is by Scholastic website's own rating system for 9th grade. And these aren't just LGBTQ books. These are books. One of them is a LGBTQ, little air quotes. I put in air quotes, gay boy. Or no, it's the girl. I'm sorry, the lesbian girl who is in an abusive home with an alcoholic mother. What 6th grader, 7th grader, 8th grader needs to be exposed to that? What happened to the Hardy Boys and the Babysitters Club?
Man, I'm just all about where the red fern grows. What happened to the books? Okay, so what's the title of at least the one? How many books did you find there? Tell me more about the background on the story.
So, and you can find this on 19news.com. And what happened was a 6th grader went home and said to his parents, "You wouldn't believe this book at school today." And the child had written down the name of the book, and it happened to be the one with the gay boy. So the book fair has 3 books. They're all in the same section. And they are, the first one, the girl one, is Rainbow Volume 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And I want to say it's Heart, I'm blanking on the name of the gay one. But these are books, and now here's what's crazy, and I missed this whole controversy, but the Scholastic Book Fair, when Florida passed a law that says you can't put this stuff in classrooms, Scholastic said, okay, we're going to take this out. We're going to let schools opt in to these types of books, which, of course, none in Alabama would. And then they got all under fire from all the LGBTQ groups, and they folded like a cheap suit.
Who folded? The schools folded?
Scholastic. No, Scholastic.
Scholastic, okay.
And put them back in. Now, schools should know better. I'm sorry. I'm quite frustrated that it took a 6th grader going, what in the inappropriate is this? Mm-hmm. And no faculty member, no librarian called that out or caught it before a 6th grader did.
And they're the gatekeepers. This is their job. So is it just the title and the overall theme, or is there straight up, like we've seen in some of these cases, straight up pornographic stuff in there? You wouldn't want straight, gay, whatever. You just don't expose kids to that kind of stuff.
So the graphic novel doesn't have, there's like, in all of them, there's kissing and petting and all of that stuff. Like I said, the one has an abusive home situation, alcoholic parent, just very bizarre. I don't even know how to describe it. The book is written by a, air quotes, queer, lesbian, author and illustrator. And all they're doing is pushing an agenda. They're pushing, it's not appropriate for kids to have this material and the parents not to necessarily even know they've got access. Johnny buys the book. It's him and his friends are flipping through the pages. You as a parent, grandparent, the kid gets home and has all these questions.
So, I mean, who's responsible right now, and is there a law that applies? Because I know the legislature passed something to tighten up on this stuff. Again, it's not censorship. It's just being decent and moving these titles to areas where just the littler kids aren't exposed to these kind of themes. You can make an argument of whether high schoolers can delve into the stuff. Clearly, they're talking about these things anyway. But this is an elementary school. One of my sons went there when he was little, years and years ago.
So this particular book fair is middle school. It's Liberty Park Middle School.
Oh, okay.
And which is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So it's a 6th grader who found it. And so basically, Alabama does not have the same law that Florida does. And here's my position when people scream book banners, because I got one of those hate mail today, and I was actually already in a saucy mood, so I emailed back and forth with the lady who is as delightful as you can imagine. And I said, hey, let's have a conversation. You believe this book should be there? Let's talk about that. And she just wanted to call me names, and I was like, okay, that's rational. But at any rate, there is no law in the state of Alabama. There should be. If you have a child who, for whatever reason you believe, that's between you and God, you believe your child needs, air quotes, this material, no child needs it, then you go out and buy it. But it should not be made available in a classroom setting. It should not be in a public library setting. It should not be in a school book fair setting. This should be a parental decision so that when the kid has access to it, you're able to answer questions and have discussions and all of that type of thing. Like the one book, they describe it as a toxic, abusive home with alcoholism. That's something that's not necessarily kid-friendly.
Have you heard from any of the board members or any of the people on the school systems that I guess are in a position of authority over this matter, or is it just parent feedback right now?
So right now it is parent feedback. I know I did get a message from a concerned reader who had reached out to the school system, and they said that that it was under review. But I will say that I have all the confidence in the world Vestavia is going to handle this problem. The issue becomes if we don't talk about it, if it's not public, if outlets like 1819 and
I think we lost April Marie, and she was on a roll there. That happens sometimes. I'll give her a second to see if that clears back up, because I got 2 or 3 more questions about her approach on this particular story. Tell you what, I'm going to hang up on her call. Hold on. I think we just... Hey, you're back. I think we just punched something here back at the station. You were on a roll talking about the feedback you're getting, and you said some in authority are looking at it or whatever.
And if we do, here's the thing is that if you're not, now we know Scholastic has an agenda. They don't mind pushing it, and parents need to be aware and get in front of it, because the next time you get that warning, Scholastic's come into your school, go to the website and see what they're going to be selling. And I'd say even before that, what we need to do is we need to have parents saying, hey, I don't want them back.
Are you getting, I know back when I was a straight news reporter, if I broke a story or dug into, public corruption, some angle I was pursuing, the more I reported, the more tips I was starting to get from people, parents that are seeing this, things like this all the time. Are you getting more feedback and discovering more stories, because you've had a roll of stories lately on the same subject?
I have, and that's exactly how it works. And I tell people at the end of every story of mine is my email address, right? My 1819 email address. So you can send me tips. The biggest stories I would say is the universities are when kids go home and say at Christmas time or Thanksgiving, or they go home for the weekend to do their laundry, and they say, hey, you wouldn't believe what I heard in class. Now parents are saying, hey, I know just who you can call or email. And we're not using the names. We're not going to get anybody in trouble with their school, their friends, their employer. But we're going to investigate. I'm going to investigate, and we're going to keep reporting on it, because when the spotlight is shown, things seem to clean up rather quickly.
Well, look, I'll look forward to reading the rest of the story. I was a little ignorant, and I'm glad you reached out, because that'll give some volume and people can read it and then exchange with you like they will. And of course, I appreciate you filling in for us on Monday, as I'll be traveling back.
I will be there on Monday. Looking forward to it. All right. You have a great weekend, and stay warm.
No doubt. Big cold snap for all of us. Thanks, April Marie. I'm going to be layering up. I'm not ready for city. We may get snow up there on Sunday, which would be kind of magical, actually. Lonnie's Furniture Company. Here we go. Lonnie'sFurnitureCompany.com, bringing you the show tonight. Reggie, John, the whole team. Boy, do they have the lazy boys, and are they ready to sell you one? What a great gift. If you got a man in your life or a lady in your life that's just as lazy as the man, sometimes you just want to kick back and have your own space and stretch out and do what you got to do and watch a ball game or take a nap in the middle of your movie. I love taking naps in the middle of the movies. It frustrates my whole family, but it's a tradition in my family, and I'm going to keep doing it because I'm now a granddad and I can do these things. Nothing like a lazy boy. Y'all, they've got them on sale, every kind you can imagine, every configuration, fabrics, leather, smart ones, dumb ones, things with memory positions, heat, massage, all kind of other brands as well in the recliner community. Lots of selection on the floor ready to go. Man, bring a truck and you can load it up and be ready for Christmas. They'll still bring it to you. You've got time to get it delivered. It's my furniture store, an acre of selection under one roof. LaniasFurnitureCompany.com. LaniasFurnitureCompany.com. All right, y'all. Southern Skies Dermatology bringing you the show tonight. Go get checked for skin cancer. You may think you're above it. You may think I'm too young, or you may think, well, I don't have anything. I don't notice anything, or I don't have really pale skin. I'm not vulnerable. We're all vulnerable to some degree. Depends on your history, your family history, your genetics, your exposure, how you've lived your life. You ever been, you could have had damage 20 years ago that just shows up later in life. Southern Skies only does skin cancer. This is all they do. Dr. Mario and his team, day in and day out, they find it, they remove it, they save lives. Get this on your list of things to do in the new year to take good care of yourself. SouthernSkiesDermatology.com. All right, Trump's live in the White House, even on a late Thursday night, talking smack. He has a news conference about some AI technology, but I think he's doing some Q&A right now. Let's listen to that for a minute. Orlando, we'll stay with the normal break schedule, but if he's still going, we'll come back to it in a minute. Let's hear what's happening right now.
I'm sure they'll try and come back, and they're very capable people. Maybe they will, maybe they won't.
They are constituting their missile program quite quickly.
Well, they can try, but it's going to take them a long time to come back. But if they do want to come back, and they want to come back without a deal, then we're going to obliterate that one too. We can knock out their missiles very quickly. We have great power. And we helped Israel a lot. We were shooting down the drones. We were doing a lot of things for Israel. We did a good job for Israel. But Israel did a good job. They fought, and they all fought bravely. Look, that's a war. That's a vicious war. They're all vicious wars. When you write, hey, you covered a lot of wars. They're all vicious. We never saw a nice one, right? They're all vicious. But that was a big fight. But the big thing was the knockout of the possible nuclear capability. And it was a complete knockout of nuclear capability. That doesn't mean that over the next 2 years or 3 years they're not going to come back or not going to try. I think they got hit so hard, they may talk about trying, but I don't think they want to try. And I can tell you that they would love to be able to make a deal with me. They would love to be able to make a deal with me. And I'd love to make a deal with them if we could. We were not close, but not so close, but we were reasonably there for a deal with Iran before the bombing, and they would have been much better off if they made a deal. They could have had a deal. They could have had a deal where they would have been much better off. Look at what we've done. I mean, their place is blown up. Forget about the nuclear. The nuclear is gone, but look at the damage they've suffered, the death that they've suffered. They could have had a deal with nobody would have died, no buildings would have been down, nothing would have happened. We would have blown up their nuclear. That would have been it. They could have had a great deal, but they missed that opportunity. But they would like to make a deal right now. Iran would like to make a deal with me.
Mr. President.
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Do you think the Senate should confirm your nominee for Religious Freedom Ambassador, Mark Walker, in time for Christmas?
All right, so Q&A still going on. That sounded largely like it was about Iran. We're going to take this bottom of the hour break. We'll come back. Probably talk to my buddy at Stockton Mortgage, and then maybe dip back into this or take some of your phone calls. Who knows? Stay tuned and figure it out. Leading live. Here we go. All right, y'all, 5:35, Leland Live. Little Charlie Starr and Blackberry Smoke singing for you here on a Thursday night. I'll never forget first time I got to meet him, we were sharing backgrounds because he's from my home area. He goes, yeah, I used to work for your dad. I was like, what? Say what? At one point, he worked for the streets and sanitations department where my dad was a mayor for a little bit of time. Isn't that a funny backstory? Now he's a rock star. Charlie Starr, cool dude, man, great singer. Douglas Cooling and Heating bringing you the show tonight. Y'all, this is the company to handle. If you, in this cold snap, something goes wrong, your house just won't get warm, man, that can be dangerous this time of the year. Have Douglas on standby. They can come do emergency work, second opinions, everything in between. Installs. I'm getting a price from them right now for an additional unit on my house. Got some work going on. Looking forward to getting that bid in because they're going to do a great job. I know these guys. They've done everything for me for 16 years. Y'all reach out to him. Jay's a great guy. He runs a great company. They've got a plumbing division, too, with the cold snap coming Sunday night. If you do wind up with some kind of frozen pipe or a weird issue, go ahead and reach out to him for that as well. It's called calldouglas.com. It's that easy, calldouglas.com. License number 2017181, calldouglas.com. Man, I'm trying to sweep up and clean up and get ready for the Breaking Bread crew. Are they live tonight, Orlando? Are they going to be, are you in there with them tonight? Who knows? Orlando's the hell out of here. He's gone. He's like me. Door will not hit us at 6 o'clock. We got things to do. By the way, traffic's been nuts tonight. I'm getting a lot of reports about, this is a combination of things. Some people are already doing their holiday travel, believe it or not. And then you've got just chaos anywhere near a shopping center. I'm looking at 280 right now. It was bad on the way in here today. Now we got a couple of wrecks, one inbound, one outbound. And then everything near the summit, man, it's just nuts. I'm going to find a different way home tonight. It was a solid almost an hour for me to get here today. So y'all be careful with that if you're out there moving around. Stockton Mortgage, usually Thomas would call us by now. I bet he is slammed too with that interest rate deduction. They get really busy. It's kind of that last little thing people need to go to start getting their paperwork ready. If you're considering doing something with your mortgage just to get maybe even to even out all your interest that you're paying on all your debt, sometimes it's smart to have an analysis done, and they'll do that for you. They'll show you what you can move around and what you could place underneath a home mortgage repackage and actually save you some monthly money and, of course, on interest long term. Then you're really paying that debt back. You are not paying it back if you're just making minimum payments on a credit card. That's trapped. They designed it that way. They want to keep you that way. They're letting you rent your own debt. It's ridiculous. Let them improve that for you at Stockton Mortgage. They've got a website set up with a phone number just for this audience. It is savewithstockton.com, savewithstockton.com. Man, I don't want to turn this into a football show, but I am trying to get away from this Michigan drama. But it just keeps popping up in the news because it's gotten soap opera-like now with the coach getting himself fired and then everything that happened from that. The mistress that he was involved in apparently scrubbed her social media and went into hiding. I try to avoid these voyeuristic stories for the sake of voyeurism. But suddenly this story starts to tie back to Alabama, and there's this wild speculation tonight. And Orlando's already shot it down for me once because he's a big old Tide fan. So is my wife, by the way. But I don't keep up with it enough. I said it when the show started today. I wouldn't have picked this guy out of a lineup. You couldn't have made me tell you who the coach at Michigan was. I just don't keep up like that anymore. But as an Auburn fan, I will tell you what Michigan is doing right now is Auburn-level stupidity, man. I mean, it is world-class. Auburn, on behalf of everybody in the Auburn family, thank you, Michigan, for making some gigantic, stupid things happen in your program. So here's what's going on tonight. And again, I'm trying to avoid it. This isn't a sports show, but the stories keep coming out of Michigan. So now their coach just embarrassed the whole program, but the program itself knew, according to the conspiracy theorists, and you know there are conspiracy theorists in the sports world, not just on where coaches are going to go. They speculate. They're everywhere nowadays. But apparently the athletic director knew about this impending situation and the jeopardy that it was putting the school in. And somewhere along the way, they made a decision to keep it quiet until they could get done with recruiting. And then the recruiting window closed, and they made the story public. And then, of course, he went berserk and took a knife and tried to kill somebody. And he's still in jail tonight. There's supposed to be an arraignment, I think, tomorrow, where you'll get the extent of the specific charges. There's actually a 911 audio tonight from dispatch when they were sent to the house and what the complaint was. It's messy. So now the school has fired their athletic director for having knowledge of this whole situation. We don't know how far back that goes. Was he just looking the other way the whole time this was happening with the staffer and the coach? Or was it just when it blew up, did they just keep it quiet? But then that strategy doesn't make any sense because now you've got recruits, one after the other this afternoon are leaving the school. So I don't know who these players are. Again, I don't care. I don't track that stuff. A lot of y'all do. It's okay. But a lot of their key players, one of their star players now and several others that had signed up to play for Michigan, they're now going the other way. They're just dropping out of – I don't know how that works because the portals and the recruiting classes. But one guy – I was just reading the headline here. One guy they had just signed said he talked to the school. They released him from his commitment. I don't know. How does that work, Orlando? Recruiting season's open. You get released. Is there a permanent portal? You can just leave? I don't know.
See, I'm not the expert. You'll have to go down the hallway for the Jocks guys. But once again, you think DeBoer wants to go to that mess?
And then, then there's the DeBoer angle, which is what is interesting here in Alabama, is that they've got a mess of a program, but they're apparently the Michigan people say they're heavily recruiting DeBoer. Now, I don't know why it wouldn't also be Kirby Smart and others, but some coaches, I guess, are targetable and available, and some aren't. I don't know what makes him available right now. He's got a contract and he's got a school and he's heading into the playoffs. He has tacitly denied it, but there's not been one of those firm get out of my face denials yet. So that's leaving the door open. If he's smart, that's how he's going to play it. If nothing, he gets Alabama to some people were down on his case anymore. The Black Hoodie quit working and they didn't know what to do with him. And now they're all, you love your coach again because you're going in the playoffs. That's good. It's good. I get that. But maybe he can leverage this to get a little more from the university. I don't know. I think they'll fight to keep him. They don't want to go through a coaching search at this point. And you don't want to have him not be in the game with the other issues heading into that game. So it's drama, man. It's drama all over the place. And I don't
love it.
I'm the odd man out. I'm over here. I'm thinking about starting to watch lesbian slap fighting or something. I need a new sport. I've given up on college football. But yeah, it's fun to watch the back and forth and the drama of it. As little as I care, I've talked about it 5 times on the show already. Because every time I try to ignore it, it shows back up. This guy's going to do this and that, and I started to get some of our friends down at Jocks to just call in tonight. They got their hands full of this thing, so I think it, in a way. Let me spin it on behalf of the Alabama folks. This could be a good opportunity to pick up some pretty good players. I assume Michigan has some good players. A lot of those guys are going to want a home to go to. Some of them probably feel like their coach got burned, even though he made a fool out of himself. Still, they're loyal. A lot of these kids are loyal to the coach first, program second. Well, themselves first nowadays. Then maybe the coach, then the program. Which is what bothers me as a fan. There's no program loyalty anymore. Nobody cares.
No, it's all about money.
Yeah.
But you make a very valid point, man. Michigan has some very good players, so I'm sure Alabama's already in the hunt.
Because, okay, we're thinking about like DeBoer, who'd want to inherit a mess. I guess in some ways you could say, well, the bar is low. I can go in there and stabilize the program. It's an attractive thing. It's the opposite of what he did trying to, come in and fill Saban's shoes. It's almost like an impossible task. But at the same time, these players, you look at it, they're sitting there going, dude, we just lost our coach. The AD's been fired. This place is going to be a mess for 2 years. I need some more money and attention. I'm going somewhere else. Here's my question, because you know more about this than I do. Maybe the audience knows and could fill me in here in the last 15 minutes. Can players just up and leave anytime now? Or I know there's the transfer portal, but isn't there a season for that where you can transfer at certain times? If not, it's the Wild West. If they can just get up and leave at this point, go to another school, I think they can right now, right? Because the season's basically over.
I'm not 100% sure, but you're correct. There are stipulations and times that you can, because, think about it. If there were no ramifications or barriers, they would be transferring all the time. So there is, and once again, I don't want to misspeak. I'm not the expert on that, but you are on point with that.
I'm looking at. I googled it. I searched it, AI'd it, whatever happens nowadays. It says players can enter in the transfer portal during a single main window from the 2nd to the 16th, which replaces the older separate windows. So I guess maybe that's a new rule. So I guess they can announce it, and then come January the 2nd, right after the holidays, it's going to be transfer chaos, or they're up for auction or bid or something like that. But this kind of thing, I think, because the way football is now, you have an explosion in one program, it affects the other programs in all kind of ways. So everybody with a viable coach in the country is locking down their coaches tonight and double checking on their players, especially the Michigan people. That's crazy, man. Don is up. I think he's got some portal info. How does this play out, Don?
Well, what happens is once a coach is fired, you've got, I think, 2 weeks to enter the portal.
That's a triggering event if a coach gets canned.
Yeah, if he gets canned,
okay.
I think you got 2 weeks. Now, a lot of times in the season, you don't see much. You see maybe a little. I think like when Malzahn, when the guy at Auburn left, he they may have had 1 or 2 kids transfer, but not much is during the season. Well, now it's close to the end of the semester.
Right.
So it could be anybody. And yes, then there is the regular portal that will open up, as you said, I don't know what date it is, January 2nd. And yes, those players can go elsewhere if they've signed there and he's gone. So it could be a mass exodus. Actually, when Saban left, and it was right on the verge of when the second semester started, I think all told, they lost 48 players.
Who did?
Alabama.
When Saban left.
Told.
Yeah. But then they managed to restock and get things stabilized.
They did, and Michigan is what you would call a proud program. They think they don't stink in anything. They think that they ought to be able to throw money out there and get anybody they want because they're Michigan. Hopefully that won't happen. I think the board deserves it. Significant chance at Alabama. He's making progress. So you can't come in and replace a Lynch, and you get.
That's a tough job.
Hard.
It's always been a tough job for him, and next year he doesn't get any grace. I think he's gotten a lot of grace the first 2 years, but next year he doesn't get all that.
Yes, he has. But now making the playoffs, I think that gives him a tiny bit, at least some of a buffer. So.
Yep. Well, Don, thanks for the info, man. I'm lost on all this stuff, and I don't even want to be an expert on it. I just don't. I don't have the brain space for it anymore, and it's gotten too complicated. I tell you what, though. I'll throw this at y'all, and then we'll go to the break. As somebody looking from a distance, here's how I would fix the whole thing, because I think all of college football is in a mess. One, I'm okay with people paying the players. They should be paying them. I've always advocated for that. These kids get their brains knocked out. Some of them have no chance to go to the NFL. You're not getting a real education. They're lying about that. You're not getting a real education. So, yeah, but I think they should put the money in a trust and not let them have it till they mature where they can handle, because that's a lot of money, and it could do some real good with it if they were a little older. 22-year-old and 18-year-old is a huge leap. So put it in a trust, and you get it if you complete your commitment to the program and you stay your ass in the program. You commit, and in our industry and every other industry, you sign an employment contract, you can't go compete for a competitor immediately. There are provisions in there. It happens in our business where you can't just leave and go to the competition. And so industry does it. Everybody else does it. Non-competes are always controversial, and they're controversial in our world too. But they need to just stabilize it. Either get rid of the portal or get rid of paying them. You can't have both, because this is the Wild West right now.
Well, Nick Saban, that's what he's working on.
Yeah.
Trying to get some ramifications. And I never
Tuberville's been helping him too. They've been working together.
Yeah, I never thought they would open the door and just let the floodgates come in.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these kids, what's going to happen, let's say they come from a poor family who has no money management, they're going to be broke before they even make it to the NFL.
They're going to have a wrecked Lambo and 4 or 5 ex-girlfriends and 3 or 4 kids, and they ain't going to know what to do, and there's no NFL contract, and then you greeting at Walmart after that, wondering what the hell happened to you. But if you set this step up in an investment program and stocked it up for 4 years, you know how much money that is? They can live off the interest and never have to work again the rest of their lives. If somebody would manage that for them. And not all of them are like that, just irresponsible. Some are smart. I've got a kid from my hometown that played for Alabama, Bradley Bozeman. Dude plays in the NFL right now. He lives in a fifth wheel trailer during the season because he's saving his money. He knows it's not going to last forever. And he comes back home and takes care of people back home. His aunt went to high school with me, and he's just a good dude. He's rooted. He knows it's going to be over one day. He's saving his money.
Jalen Hurts is like that. Man.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, hey, there's a smart way to do it. But if you're going to teach kids, if they're in an educational program, they should educate them.
Leland, where were you when they first did this thing, man? They needed that knowledge.
My program decided to quit being serious, so I dropped out of football for a few years. I got my falls back. It's been nice. All right, we got to go. Alabama Dental bringing you the show tonight, alabamadental.com. Y'all go see Dr. Brian and them and get your appointment in the new year. It's one of those many things I keep encouraging you. Everybody's going to try to lose some weight and eat better and give up smoking or whatever you're doing that you need to give up. Part of that, in my estimation, is do the health screenings and checkups, things like your vision and dental. Go see them at Alabama Dental. Get the cleaning, get those x-rays, get in the program, become one of their patients. If you're prone to have pain or issues from time to time, they've got expanded hours. They're there till 7 at night. They're there on the Saturdays. You can't beat that. A professional practice with 4 different specialists in it with expanded hours and incredible technology to take care of your needs. You got to take care of your pearly whites. It's alabamadental.com, alabamadental.com. Crocker Moving Services will get your stuff moved. Sometimes you just got a big old thing like a pool table or a piano, or for me, I had a big old gun safe one time I bought. How am I going to move that thing? It weighed 1,000 pounds. Or it could be a couple couches. That's your back. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to do that anymore. Don't be relying on your friends. They're not going to do it for pizza and beer anymore. You're not in college. Hire the pros. They'll get it done for you. Crocker will scale their services down to 2 hours. So basically 2 hour minimum, they'll come out and take care of it for you. That's good stuff. Or if you got a full-fledged move, you're going to need a bunch of trucks. You're going a long way. They can handle that too. I trust Eric and his team to come to your house and treat your stuff right. Y'all reach out to them and let them estimate it. They have never gone over my estimates. And the times I've used them, they're right on the money. They know what they're doing. It's CrockerMovingServices.com, CrockerMovingServices.com. Man, I can't get over this weather map. Not only we got this cold snap coming on Sunday night, I was looking back. James Fan just posted about it again, too, this long-term sort of pattern flip map that they're producing up to Christmas Eve. It goes right up to Christmas Eve. We're talking about on this map, the little zone they got us in is above 70. And that's sort of the average for that time. So we're talking about, realistically, we could be looking at 75 degrees on Christmas Eve. Y'all need to put them little Santa hats away. It's too hot for that. It's gonna feel weird, but nice at the same time because you can get the kids to go outside and leave you alone. Open their presents, go ride your bike. There's an upside. Alabama Bass bringing you the show tonight too. Speaking of Christmas, they're still running this deal through the end of the year. I would take advantage of it. Y'all listen. They're throwing in a free seat if you do one of their installs. This is a $1,000 value. Normally, it would cost you about $1,000 to do this add-on with their systems. They'll come in and rip that whole bathtub out, that whole janky old-school bathtub, that slippery, dangerous bathtub, and replace it with a beautiful, low-rise, easy-entry, slip-proof system that's gorgeous, that has shelving and handles. Even the plumbing is thought through and ergonomic and easy to use. You're just not going to slip around in there. Makes it easier to get that done. There's some times in life where you need things to be easier. Let them come and do it. Dewey and John and all of them, Mike, Sandra, Jill, that whole family, 40-plus years in this business. They know what they're doing. Their prices are better than the corporate schmucks, and they're going to treat you right, put no pressure on you, and get it done. And if you drop my name right now for this limited time through the end of the year, a free seat. Check that out, alabamabass.com, alabamabass.com. Y'all have a good weekend. Merry Christmas, everybody. Breaking bread on the way. Thanks, Orlando.